Okay, hello everyone. This is gonna be kind of interesting. Got a lot of stuff to do, lot of stuff to talk about. The first thing we're gonna do in every single stream starting this week is going to be like a little quick anime review. Cause I watch a lot of anime on the side. I'm sure you guys do the same, and so I figure every week I will talk about a particular show. Now I picked the one for this week, and I will keep picking the ones until I get some decent suggestions from people, or I should say any suggestions. 'Cause I haven't really gotten any so far, but yeah, we're gonna go through a couple of animes, one anime a week. Okay, the first one we're gonna talk about is Blue Gender. So if you guys don't know about Blue Gender, it's an older show, came out in 1999. There's no manga source for it, as far as I know. It kind of like Code Geass and Gungrave, which will be next week's topic, by the way. It has no official source material. It's some people can consider it to be similar to what is that movie, Starship Troopers? And when I first watched it, I was like, yeah, very similar. But then after like the first couple episodes, I'm like, nah, not really. The only similarity between the two shows is, or well, this is a show and that's a movie, is that the characters are fighting bug-like creatures that took over Earth. But the circumstances, the overall tone, the characters, very different. I mean, Blue Gender is about basically it starts off where these people are being recovered. You don't really know why. They're apparently called sleepers, and the person who's recovering them is Marlene, part of her group. She recovers. The only guy who survives from the group was Yuji. So the story is basically about Yuji and Marlene, and they're trying to survive on Earth. And the reason why I won't say, because this is a non-spoiler review, although I will say it gets very interesting. And what's interesting about the story is that it has like a bunch of different arcs in it. So there's like the first part where they meet up, and then they get to know each other, and then there's another situation happens, then they fall back to another place, and then with each of these different arcs in the story, there's like different tones. The first one's kind of like survival horror, and then you get more of a militaristic one, then politics, and then a romance story, which is interesting. And I will say, considering this is not a romance anime, you know, like the typical ones you may have heard of, I will say they did a good job. This was one of the better romance stories I've seen in probably a long time. And that's saying something because I've watched over 200 animes, which I guess isn't a lot. There's how many in existence? 30,000? But how many are available to actually watch on streaming sites or DVDs? Maybe 10K. So either way, it was a pretty good show. The best parts about it are obviously Marlene. If you don't know who she is, she's the main character. Actually, I can show you a quick image of her. Give me a second here. I don't want to guys show you my screen while I'm looking for this stuff, but ooh, I thought I had it. Give me a second here. Where is it? Should make those. Yeah, this is a good episode of her. So Marlene looks like this. And I'm going to do a full screen so you don't see other stuff. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. 2 seconds here. Why is that? Oh, I am smart. I am so smart. Okay. So I'll just zoom in on her. And can we do full screen here? Where's my full screen option? I think it's F2, right? Nope. F11? Nope. That thing will move you. Nope. Whatever. This is Marlene. She's the main character of the story. And then she works with this guy here, Yuji, who is the guy they recovered. And so the entire story is the two of these people, the two of them trying to survive in a futuristic, well, I'd say dystopian almost, because the entire planet is consumed by these monsters called the Blue, which I should have mentioned that earlier. And they look like, is there any in here? Oh, actually not this episode. Give me 1 second here. Let me switch back to me real quick. I'll show you a quick image of them. The blue are like these giant. They eat organic, inorganic matter. It's actually kind of interesting because they consider humans to be a nuisance. You know, most of the time you watch these anime where there's like a creature consuming humanity, and usually they will specifically target humans. And these creatures don't seem to care. They're more targeting everything. And in fact, we're so annoying they put us into these like, look, well, not me, but in the story they put these people into these cocoons, and they feed on them later, or some kind of not a cocoon, but some kind of mashup with a bunch of bodies. It's kind of nasty, to be honest. I'm trying to find an image. Yeah, here we go. I found one. Yeah, let me open this up. Okay, now back to my sharing. Here we go. So actually, let's just show you the whole thing here. So yeah, here it is. They put the humans into these wrap-ups, and then they consume them later for energy. There's more of that. Blue are gigantic, by the way, in case you weren't aware. That's why they have these gigantic robots to fight them. Like these things they're massive. Like this is that's a building, by the way. These things are, and these are their hives because they basically consume the whole planet. And so that's kind of Blue Gender in a nutshell. If you're looking for a really good story with a good female lead, which is, I mean, like a serious female lead. There's not like jokes here in that sense. You get good development with the characters. There's good action sequences. Music is good too, by the way. I'm not a big fan of the opening, but the ending is very good. The whole political stuff in this, which is unexpected but pretty good. And one of the best parts of the story too is that I was hooked after each episode. I wanted to keep watching more. Some shows I watch, I'm like, okay, is this over yet? But with Blue Gender, like it never seemed to stop. It was just, I was like, okay, what's the next one? What's the next one? The constant need to keep going. Like I watched a show, I binged it over a couple of days, and not because I was in a rush to get it over with, but I had to know what was going to happen. And it's very rare when I watch a show like that where I absolutely am like completely involved with the characters and what's going on with the story. And I like the characters. I know some people don't like Yuji's character. I've saw a couple reviews. There's not too many. Blue Gender is not highly talked about for obvious reasons. It wasn't that popular when it came out. I think he was on Toonami too, by the way. But anyways, people didn't like Yuji's character. I believe the complaint was what was it? Like he was a whiny guy and he was constantly annoying and like I don't care. Look, you understand the situation, right? He just woke up in a future where the entire world's been consumed by bugs, gigantic bugs, like size of like I don't know, not skyscrapers, but maybe tanks. And so his response is, "Oh my God, what's going on here?" And considering he went from that kind of scared mindset to, "Okay, what can I do to help out the team and be kind of productive?" That was fine. The interesting part of the story too, and this is a little bit spoiler, but not too big of spoilers, is that Yuji goes from kind of a more timid guy, friendly, emotional, to kind of like a machine. And then Marlene goes from kind of like a machine, emotionless person to a very emotional one. So they kind of flip the roles as the story progresses, which is one of the cool dichotomies of the story. I will mention, though, the ending was kind of controversial, although I liked it. I thought it was fine. I can see why, though, because there was a lot of ambiguity. And people don't like ambiguity. They want answers. Well, you don't get answers, all right? I'm just kidding. I mean, I understand that. I mean, there's a lot of shows I watch where I just don't know exactly what was the outcome. And it'd be nice if they told you. But I think in this case, it made sense because this is not that kind of story. Although you think it is, though, when you're watching it, like, oh, military fighting bugs. But they kind of put it all together in actually a pretty cohesive unit. Some people say that the middle episodes, not middle, but like 15 through 20 are kind of boring. It never happened to me. Maybe when I rewatch it again, maybe I'll take off my, I guess my first time viewing glasses and I'll go back through it and realize there might have been flaws in the story. But from what I watched, I was very attached to the characters, which was a mistake, and I was also very attached to the story. And and there was like a lot of like well done development of each of the side characters, and they did a good job hinting at one of the weird parts of the story, which maybe they'll talk about, where sex in this story, and not to go too much into this, but the relationships with the characters or people in general is not very it's not intimate like it is in our time, because people are living in a point where they could die any day, so people just naturally just hook up, and it's completely loveless, and I mean, it's literally nothing. You see it all the time in the show, but they don't do it to a point where it becomes like I don't know, obnoxious or stupid. It's just like, oh, okay, they're just doing that, fine, whatever. People act casually around it. No one draws attention to it, which kind of adds to the whole world building of the story. And I guess somewhat realism, because if you knew you could die any second because of you're literally in a war zone, I guess you'd act that way. And it's been like, I think like 10 years since the bugs took over. So society has really gone to the crapper over the last 10 years. I think it's actually not too far from our time period. Well, let's hope scientists are not are not experimenting with random cells on bugs, because or animals too. 'Cause I really don't want to end up like it. But if I'll give it the anime a final grade, I give it probably an 8 out of 10 after my first viewing. Definitely recommend it. It's 26 episodes and flies by really quick. You want a fun action anime that encompasses mecha, romance, sci-fi, politics, horror. You got to hear. So that's Blue Gender, and it was definitely worth the watch. Next week is going to be next week is going to be Gungrave. If you guys haven't seen that one, and like I said at the beginning, if you guys have recommendations for shows for me to review in this quick, like how long we do this for, like 10 minutes, yeah, for like 10-minute reviews, just let me know. Okay, now that we're done with that, I'll read some comments, and then we will start the main part of this. Well, the reason why you're here is Code Geass episode 4 through 6, and man, we got lots to talk about in these episodes. Okay, we got from Code Geass Anime Fan. Hi, hope you've been doing well. I have been, although I know you guys follow baseball, but the Blue Jays, they were close to making the playoffs, and they fudged it up because they couldn't win when it mattered. So I'm a little upset about that, but you know what? Fudge them. It is what it is. Just, something could have gone right. But other than that, I'm okay. Episode 4 is one of the most important episodes because it has Zero proving how beneficial he can be to the Black Knights, in addition to establish the rivalry between Zero and Suzaku. Episode 4 is not only that, but it also establishes Lelouch's intelligence and strategy, because you kind of see it in the first second episode and the third one where he's defeating Clovis, but here he had to come up with a plan in like a couple seconds, not a couple seconds, but a couple of days, and it was really good and well thought out. And he took advantage of the whole situation and each character's emotions and personality. And we'll get to that later, because episode 4's plan against Jeremiah has been criticized heavily as contrived nonsense, and that's garbage. We'll get to that later. Anyways, is that Blue Gender? Yes, it is. Blue Gender is it was Blue Gender. Blue Gender. I almost said something else there for a second. I recommend Turn A Gundam if you want a good anime with a great story. Turn A Gundam. Okay, I can look into it. I'll make a list. The anime I recommend is Tamayura. It's an obscure but probably a wonderful slice of life anime that helped me deal with grief and more optimistic than most. Tamayura. Okay, I'm gonna write these down. Okay, so we got Turn A Gundam, Tamayura. Hopefully that came out before, 20. Hopefully it's not a modern anime, because those are hard to find on DVD. You might have answers in the last stream. What do you think of the new openings for the rerun? I did not answer them, and I completely forgot. All right. You know what? I completely forgot to. I was going to discuss that in the stream. No. You have that right. I did not discuss those. Okay. What I'm going to do right now, while you guys don't see it, I'm going to load up Reddit real quick. I was supposed to grab it. Man, I was doing so much today. I have a video planned for tomorrow about Gensari Code, and I completely forgot about the intro's ending, so I'm glad you reminded me. Let me go pull that up real quick, because Reddit has both of them. I think I even download it. Give me a second here. But I will say, God, Reddit's such an awful place. But I will say that with the intros and endings, I wasn't a big fan of them. I think most people are kind of like mixed feelings. I personally, as someone pointed out, the ending and the openings, I think the people who made them forgot why they were good. If that makes any sense. I'm going to download, the person had a link on Reddit. I'm going to download them real quick, and then we will go through them. I don't want to have this running in the background, because last time I did this, my stream was like god awful. If it does that, by the way, if it starts slowing down, let me know. But let me get these downloaded real quick. I believe the person left a link. They just aired it. That's why. I don't want to play that, because then I'm going to get copyrighted. We won't hear the music, by the way. So it is what it is. But at least we get to go through the videos. And that's probably enough. Okay, I just got them. All right, thanks for the reminder. Okay, get the downloads. Give me 2 seconds here. For some reason, my stupid Windows 10 puts it all by file type, which takes forever to find. Okay, let's see. What do you guys want to see first, the ending or the opening? If you guys don't vote, I'm going to go ending first. All right, ending first it is. Okay. Now, I can't play the sound because I'm going to get copyrighted, but I believe this is the ending. What is this? Yeah, it's the ending. So here's the ending. I'm actually going to slow it down real quick. Here's the ending of it. And, you're not seeing anything. My bad. Okay. I know what I'm doing, I swear. Okay. So here's the ending. It has like a bunch of images. One complaint that I have is there's not a whole lot of brand new stuff. I know that in other intros endings they put more thought into, I could say, the animations we're looking at. This just looks like a compilation of previous clips, which is fine, but I would have maybe liked something else. Now I'm pretty sure this is the ending one, so it has the music from It's Someone Said Unravel. And I gotta be honest, it doesn't really fit Code Geass. It's not like the guy's not a bad singer. It's just, I don't Code Geass isn't, I mean, it has psychological elements to it, but when I think of that guy who's singing, I think of Tokyo Ghoul, and Tokyo Ghoul is a very different show, like than Code Geass. And the music for that anime fit it perfectly. Like Tokyo Ghoul and Unravel, like it just fits like a glove. But I'm watching this and or listening rather, and it really just didn't. It didn't work for me. One thing else I don't like about this ending too is that in the original endings they had like really cool picture drama style art. I can show you guys real quick by just hold on. Give me a second here. I'm kind of fast forward. I'm kind of zipping through this. Come on. Hope you guys don't get a seizure. Okay. Come on. Yeah. You get like this type of art. If they were going to do a rebroadcast, I would expect to see something like this. That's why they're so good in Code Geass, because they have like these unique art styles they came up, or I guess arts paintings. There we go. And they don't have that in these in this new ending. You don't really have that. It's just compilation. Everything up to Naruto looks like. Oh, this is not Naruto. That's a little afterwards. No, wait. No, it's not. What am I talking about? So it's not the worst. But yeah, I'm kind of a dick. I don't like. I don't think Unravel makes any sense in Code Geass. Just me though. Okay. Now the other one, the intro. Hold on. Let me load. This is the intro to Code Geass, or the new intro. Again, I can't play the music because I'm going to copyright. Oopsies. All right, so the song that Flo sings here, I'm just going to point out, is not terrible. It's a good song. It just doesn't fit. When you listen to the last song, I forgot the name of it, but season 2, the fifth intro, that song was really good, and so was Flo. They both kind of, not Flo, Colors. They both had the same tone and direction. Like this song just is all over the place. It just doesn't fit. And I think people were kind of feeling the same way because, I don't know, I shouldn't have expected anything. And again, people were complaining that there was no new footage or anything created. And considering Jazari Code has like a bunch of new footage made, you think they could have done something. This is just look, it's well edited, okay? Don't get me wrong here. It's well edited, very beautiful. I mean, that's good 3D effects right there. A good blending of like the images of every single part of the show. And I'm curious to see what they'll do as they go through more of the seasons, or episodes rather. But I shouldn't expect anything. I won't be that guy. I think it's pretty cool. It's cool, the compilation of all the videos and images. The song, however, I could do without it. It's pretty cool. I would have liked some brand new stuff in it at least, but whatever. I have complained in the past that I hate anime that are not creative with their intros, and they literally just what's it called? They take a bunch of their own episode clips and put together. I mean, like Yu-Gi-Oh! For God's sakes did that. And that was a what was it? That was a 4 kids show. So the bar isn't set too high, but overall, pretty cool intros. Would like new animations. Music for both didn't really fit. So that's kind of how I feel about that. I'm not sure what you guys felt, but they reused footage. Let's see. Okay. So going back to the comment, that's my thoughts on it. Okay, although D-Tar did appear in episode 1, I feel like episode 4 is the first episode where we get to know about his personality and priorities. I guess, but I mean, he was pretty adamant in the first episode where he's like, yeah, this whole thing's a sham, and Clovis is full of it. So I think he was pretty open about his ideas. But yeah, I mean, this one, you really get to see him as a cameraman, which is very true. Like you can see like why this guy is like an elite, the best guy for media, and why Lelouch picks him later. Well, he accepts his invitation. Lelouch didn't actually pick him, but you know what I mean. Can't wait for tomorrow. It's the big day for October 4th. And yes, you're absolutely right. And it will be coming out. It'll be coming out on, what's it called? October 4th, the Janissary code. They're not delaying it anymore. I've saw it on Android and iOS. Like, it's already listed there. Although it says September 28th, which is kind of weird. That's the release date. That's what I'm talking about there. Okay. Yes, I'm very excited about it. I'm reading a couple posts about how to get the game, and so far I'm not liking the ways to do it. I think I'm gonna have to use a VPN or something to download it. There was another way they were suggesting called Q app or something, and apparently that doesn't work for this. So I'll keep working on it. I'll keep you guys posted. Turn A Gun was from 1999. Okay, I can definitely find it. It's on YouTube now. Cool. Well, whatever. I got it ready. It is what it is. By the way, Timer is also able to watch free on anime YouTube channel called Nozemiet. Oh, you know, I forgot to tell you guys where you can watch Blue Gender if you want to see it, because, you know, you might be interested. Give me 1 second. I don't want to. You guys don't need to see that. Give me a second here. Okay, I'll move this over here. Give me 2 seconds here. Come on. Is it because the stream it's not working? Oh, whoopsies. Didn't see that. Okay. I love Libre because it's free, but the problem with it is sometimes it will make assumptions, or it has like these like tips things, and that's not always my favorite thing. I have to click it out. I think another there's something else I used to use. I think it's PyCharm does the same thing. Blue Gender, really? It's on any streaming sites? That can't be right. Really? Blue Gender isn't anywhere? I thought it was on Hulu. Oh, it's not. Well, that sucks. I thought it was on Hulu. Well, if you want to watch it, you're gonna have to get it from the. You're gonna have to get a DVD of it. That's all. I got it from the library. I'm not gonna like pretend like I own it or anything. Oh, it's not. Okay. Well, that sucks. If you watch Blue Gender, it's on. It's you see my face too. I'm doing this. Blue Gender isn't on. Apparently, it's not on any streaming site. So, well, that kind of sucks. Maybe we'll get picked up by Tubi TV at some point. Okay, continuing on here. Their use of footage from the show, which is always a sin for me. Yeah, it kind of is a sin. I mean, if you can make new stuff, make new stuff. And granted, it's not like this was a last-minute decision. I'm sure they thought about this for years, about the anniversary. And the fact that they didn't make anything really creative for it is kind of disappointing. But it is what it is. The new ending reminded me of Unravel from Tokyo Ghoul. Same artist, TK is awesome, but similar vibes to the music background. Yeah, it's the same artist. That's very true. 2001... I just skipped something. Jesus. Where is it? Well, still in one. Maybe they wanted to change the vibe. Still, Unravel is my favorite anime opening. No, Unravel is one of the best openings songs. One of the best openings. Well, openings in anime history. No doubt. I just don't know if it fit the Code Geass vibe. That's the thing. The OP's part really doesn't fit. Nah, just doesn't. If you go 59 in the song, they do say Jibun Wo. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's not just the words Jibun Wall. It's also just the way they sing. If you heard another one of their songs I really love, it's called Eureka 7 has it. I'm trying to think what's that song called. Give me a second. I'm going to Google it. Eureka 7 OP1 song name. Okay. I definitely misspelled everything, but it's called Days? That's what it's called? I thought it was called something else. I guess it's called Days. Anyways, listen to the song Days from Eureka 7 opening 1. That's the part of Flow that would make sense for Code Geass. That type of song and direction. But I mean, look, Flow's a really good band. Their stuff's fantastic. I'm not sure if that song really fit it or not. The new intro visuals look well done. They do a good job of showing off a majority of the characters in a short amount of time. Yeah, they definitely. I mean, I'll say as much. It was made for the fans. That's not an intro I would show anyone who hasn't seen Code Geass. But if you've been a fan of the show, which is, again, the target audience, then you would have loved that because it's a compilation of everyone and everything. If you haven't seen Code Geass, though, it's probably not a good intro to watch. Maybe you guys disagree, but I was thinking that as well. Personally, I never had issues with Goo app. I even have a Genesis downloaded right now, just waiting for service to go live. You have it downloaded right now? Okay. I know what I'm doing tomorrow morning. I heard Jeremiah was supposed to die in episode 5. I thought he was supposed to die in episode 11. But, wait, is it an issue to download the game? Yeah, see, I thought it wasn't working. Okay, look, I'll mess with it tomorrow morning and see what I can get going, because I thought the Q app would work. Now you have the translator working. That's the key. You know, you get the. I'm not sure if this works or not, but you got to download the game first. You got to get the translator second. So as long as you get both of those going, you should be good. But okay, I know I'm doing tomorrow morning. All right, let's get into. I think we got no more questions, so we can now get into episode 4 of Code Geass, Lelouch Other Rebellion R1. All right, so this episode is pretty cool. The one thing I liked at the beginning of it was C2's monologues. You know, each episode C2 does some kind of monologue to start the show. I like this one a lot. I'm actually going to read it out loud because it really summarizes the entire show. And I made a critique with Watch Mojo because they completely misunderstood Lelouch's motivations. And the reason why it pisses me off is because the show tells you, like, to the face exactly what the premise of the story is. So I'm going to read this out real quick to you guys, and you'll see what I mean. Lelouch is determined to use the power of the power to bring the Britannian Empire to its knees, to avenge his mother and create a world where his younger sister Nellie can find happiness, all while knowing at the end of his quest the Britannian Emperor, his father, awaits. Or at least that was his hope Lelouch carried in his heart back then. So what I like about this day establishes, again, his goal. Stop Britannia and make a world for his sister to live in peace. And sister part is, by the way, the most important thing. The reason why this is important is because when Watch Mojo discussed it, they made it seem like Nellie's priorities were secondary when they're not. They technically were all equal at some point, but I know later on in R2, they weren't. Nellie's was actually more important. I believe he made that clear. I forgot what episode it was. Was it 4? Turn 4? But it was one of those. We'll get to it eventually at some point. But yeah, I think that's one of the best ways to summarize his entire motivations. Also, if the game is able to be downloaded, one minor note, I'm going to probably then do 2 episodes a week because I want to spend at least 1 hour playing the game with you guys. So instead of doing like 3 episodes, we might do 2 a week. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Okay. So there is that. Continuing on here. All right. So the main plot of 4 is Clovis is dead. They want answers. Now I'm thinking of Codeman. Clovis is dead. We want answers. No, Clovis is dead, and they frame Suzaku for it. They use his gun right here with Jeremiah's talking. He's saying, he used his gun. He's like, I never saw his gun in my life. And so they pistol whip him with the chair or whatever, and then he's going to eventually be executed. Nellie talks to Lelouch about it, and he says, no, of course Suzaku didn't kill him. So that's the main premise. Lelouch needs to meet up with the terrorists. Oh my God. Tamaki had this moment, I made note of it, where he said, we should take credit for it. Yes, that's a great idea, Tamaki. Go out there in public and expose yourselves. What a moron. God, Tamaki literally pissed me off in this show. Everything he says is so asinine. I literally, I know people say, they want to kill Suzaku because he's annoying. No, Tamaki deserves to die. I forgot how obnoxious this character is. Oh my God. Anyways, after Tamaki makes a fool of himself, which is pretty much every scene, we get this part here, which people forget about, but this is where Lelouch actually makes his costume. He tells this guy here to get everything prepared for him. Again, people kind of forget about this scene. Then continuing on, we have this funeral for Clovis. It's not the one that takes place throughout the entire empire, just in the school. that part. And they're trying, and we get this part here where Seal and Lloyd talk about how they can't help Suzaku because they won't accept their testimony, because the whole point is to see Suzaku was guilty, which makes sense. It's a whole cover-up. And the reason for it is because they were discussing the idea that the purebloods and the royal Britannian family, I guess, or the Britannian military are kind of at odds with each other, and they want to convict a honorary Britannian or an 11 over one of their own. That's the whole thing with that. They don't really explore too much, but they do pretty much imply that purebloods have an issue with the rest of the Britannian leadership, which is something we saw in Reign of Darkness too. So it's a nice little callback there. Cecile closing her eyes because she can't help out. Lelouch has something he has to do. He meets up with Colin. There's a good part here where, Ogie's kind of like talking about how the whole Britannia has made like the world a better place, or Japan a better place. I absolutely love that. I mean, I never realized it before, but he was actually acting, of course, saying, "Oh yeah, the world's a better place because Clovis made it." He proved everything. At first, I thought he was being sarcastic, but no, he was being serious. He was trying to play the role that he actually is happy with their new conquerors, which obviously he isn't. So they meet up the Tokyo Tower, like there, and then we get to this. So people hate this scene a lot because they claim that Jeremiah basically is a moron, and the reason why is because he commanded them to put a whole bunch of people at the sides to watch, on the bridge to watch Suzaku get transported for his court martial. And Valletta was saying, if we do this, I got a phrase here. If we do this, you might piss off some people. And then Jeremiah was like, I don't care, and if we do, we'll kill them. And I was thinking the whole time, the only person who could have stopped them is someone like Lelouch. But an average civilian, if they ran in there to cause a problem, they would have been killed on the spot. And the other thing, too, is that no one was really going to help Suzaku anyways. The people were upset with him, and even the JLF had no intention of coming to his aid. So having him publicly escorted probably was not going to result in anything, which is kind of makes sense. So I never saw as like a plot hole because the story acts stupid because Jeremiah was an idiot. He gave an opening to Lelouch. I mean, Jeremiah is a very he's into the theatric, which is important because Lelouch took advantage of that as part of his plan. And I mentioned in my intelligence video, Lelouch has good understanding of other people's motivations and motions. So never any issues with that part of the story, but that's been a common complaint. We got on the train, and then Lelouch tells him to go to the main car. You see that he kiosked 100 people. Like everyone here has been kiosked on the train. So I assume Lelouch went crazy with it. It's kind of cool. You get to see the extent of how many people he can use the effect on at one time. Although I'm pretty sure he used 1,000 on. He used 1,000. He kiosked 1,000 people at one time. That's like near the end of the whole show. Anyways, they meet with Lelouch, and he says, "Let the toward my settlement." And he said, "I'm going to make the world a better place. We're not going to be terrorists." It's very important. He tells them that we're not going to kill innocents. We're going to instead only protect people. We're not a terrorist group. We're a military, something like that. We're going to take out Britannia. It's kind of fun he says that, but come episode 10, and he kills lots of innocent people. So very interesting. Lelouch has his ideals of he wants to protect people, but will turn on them later on, which we will see. So there's that. They meet on the train. Well, they leave the train, I should say. Oh, one more thing here. Lelouch tells him to, he won't show his face, but he'll show his power. And that's why they agree to work with him. Well, not everyone. Unfortunately, not everyone gets to agree works with him. Just Colin and Jeremiah. Not Jeremiah. Ogie. Jeez. It's been a long day. All right, here's a JLF. They won't help out because reasons, I guess. As Toto said, there's a difference between foolhardiness and miracles. He's like, "Hey, why don't you help out, man?" And Toto's like, "Are you an idiot? We would all die." So, you're going to do something next episode, aren't you? No, I won't. I promise. Yeah, you're gonna ruin everything. But this guy's an idiot. Continuing on here, Lloyd comes in, and this is kind of weird. I actually want to get your guys' thoughts on this. He says, Lloyd said, "I checked on the 2 names you asked me, and I didn't find them." And I said, 2 names? Who's he talking about? He doesn't know C2's name. How can he tell Lloyd to look up 2 names when he only knew about Lelouch's? What's the other name? That's kind of weird. Also, when Suzaku gave Lloyd to check out the names, did he tell him Lelouch v. Britannia? Or just Lelouch? Because if he told him Lelouch v. Britannia, wouldn't Lloyd be suspicious? Like, wait a minute, you have a prince? You knew the prince? I assume that he said Lelouch, not Lelouch v. Britannia. But he didn't have 2 names. He didn't know C2's name. So That was kind of a weird part of the story. It's not a huge plot hole, but it's just kind of random. Like that's pretty bad right there. We get to the most epic part. So we see this gigantic TV screen. They're watching the television from the television. Sorry, and there's the broadcast of it. We see D-Tar looking at the monitors. I love this line here where he goes, "What a circus! I'm corrupt as the rest of them." Yeah, he definitely is. It's really funny. D-Tar always breaks the fourth wall in this show. It's fantastic. Lloyd acts like a sociopath here by saying like, "Oh, it doesn't matter what we're gonna lose Suzaku, but we might as well cut our losses." So, and Cecile's like, "Are you serious? I love that man." Like literally, I think she literally loves him. But Lloyd's like, "Yeah, it is what it is. We'll get someone else." Lloyd's kind of he's what he is. He's a sociopath, so at least we learned that early on. We see Lelouch getting ready for this mission, and I like how he's sweating and he's very nervous because even though he has a plan and it's probably gonna work out, there's a chance it won't. And so I like he seems kind of human to me because he's like, okay, it's probably gonna work, but I'm still nervous as hell. And he has to keep this whole facade like he is this strong, brilliant, brave leader, but deep down Lelouch is kind of terrified. And let's be honest, I'd be too if I was gonna, stare down a whole barricade of people and soldiers. Even if I have the Geass power, I still have to hope to God that Jeremiah doesn't destroy the car and lets me come and see him. So definitely, I like that part there. So Jeremiah finds out about Lelouch coming over, which is a great scene. We got Tommy going, "What the hell is he doing?" The only thing I'm asking is, why are these two strangling him? Oh God, Tamaki. Oh my God. And I think later on, I'm not sure if it's at this point here, but so they're traveling to Suzaku. They're traveling nearby, and eventually, where is it? I'm not sure where that scene is. We'll get to it, I guess. They show them traveling in the car. They made this, by the way, last minute because Lelouch again had this whole plan to stop Jeremiah. It was pretty good. We'll get to that. I'll go over the whole thing afterwards to explain why I thought it was really brilliant. But anyways, they make the car. They come forward. No one else wanted to help out. What a surprise! I'm sure Tamaki was in the front of that line to help out. Sarcasm alert. So they think they're all going to die, which is a very reasonable explanation. They stop the car, or they stop and let them go. Lelouch reveals himself. And then here's the cool part. So Tamaki's like, "Man, what an idiot," revealing himself. And then he was saying like, "No, but Lelouch said that if we brought the car, Jeremiah would want to make a whole show out of it, and he'd stop and he let them pass." And he's like, "Oh no, that was a coincidence. And I'm like, "No, this is actually really good because Lelouch understood Jeremiah's motivations against him. Jeremiah wanted to make a big show, so he said, you know what? I'll make an even bigger show. I'll show up at the same time." And again, Tamaki, god dang Tamaki, freaking annoying. All right, so things are looking good. The JLF is watching because that's all they're good at is watching. Lelouch again says, "I killed Clovis," and also he was going to threaten everyone with the gas, which was great. And Jeremiah was like, "Oh no, it's the gas," and Suzaku was like, "No, it's not gas." And Lelouch was like, "Yeah, you didn't know it was gas. I mean, you know it was not gas." So he used that against him as well. Eventually, D-Tard's like, "Why is anyone capturing this guy on camera?" And of course, everyone stinks in this world, so he does it himself. And then Lelouch reveals that he is the one. Well, Zero obviously didn't say it's Lelouch. Zero's the one who killed Clovis. And the whole time, D-Tard's like, "Man, this guy's making a performance out of this." I think it was this episode where D-Tard's like, "I got to work with Zero," and I think slowly throughout the show he found a way to make it happen. But all D-Tard wanted to do was like record how the world changes. He wants to be part of the side that changes history, and he wants to be the guy who visually records it. That's why he wanted to be with Zero the whole time. And eventually, they do an hostage exchange because Lelouch comes close to Jeremiah and reveals the whole orange situation, which I never knew what that was. Lelouch apparently made it up. Although Jeremiah has orange eyes, so that could have been it. In any event, uses the gas on him and he makes sure that they get away safely. So that's what happens with that. Yep, there's the hostage situation. He uses the gas. No one dies, thankfully. And then he helps them out. They run away. This cool thing where they jump off the bridge. And Ogi is waiting for them to capture them just in time. And they eventually make way. And of course, Tommy's like, "What a joke." And I'm like, "Tommy, go piss off." And then eventually, Lelouch tries to convince Suzaku that, "Hey, you know what? work for me. They're evil. And Suzaku's like, no, I won't do it because anything could achieve through. Oh God, what did he say? Well, I don't think it's the exact words, but if you achieve something through awful means, it doesn't matter. That was the point. The ends don't justify the means. Suzaku runs away to do his court martial, and something else I didn't notice. I've watched this scene, I don't know, probably a million times at this point, and Suzaku said something which always, what never occurred to me. He said not only he has to go back to to face his court martial, but he also has to go back too because he's afraid other 11s or honorary Britannians are going to be executed or held up for his crime. So he was actually basically sacrificing his own life to protect other 11s and honorary Britannians who were going to be killed as well. So it wasn't just him being stupid, like he wants to die. It was also, if he doesn't go back, other people might die in his place. And that's not Suzaku's style. So I was like, you know what? That's pretty smart, actually, considering everyone hates him so much. And that's basically the whole episode in a nutshell. It was really good because it demonstrated Lucius' intelligence to come up with a plan last minute to save Suzaku. We learn more about Lucius and Suzaku's a lot of burping here. Lucius and Suzaku's personalities and not personality, but their motivations and what they're trying to achieve. We see a little more of Dieter, as Saul mentioned, and Jeremiah as well. And things are in motion for Jeremiah's whole fall to begin, or his fall from grace, basically. I think he gets demoted 3 ranks because of his stupidity. It wasn't really his fault. And we get Lucius one of his grand plans. So that was pretty good. I want to go through some points that I wrote in case I didn't get to them. Let's see. Okay, so then it comes up. I have not mentioned this yet, but Suzaku is being charged for 2 things, according to Jeremiah: the murder of the soldiers earlier, those royal guard, and Clovis. Now, later on, when he gets released, they don't clear him of the charge of killing the royal guard. So I think they must have forgot about it when they were writing the story, because he was charged for 2 things, not just Clovis's death. I mentioned Tamaki's an idiot. Yes, he is. I said it many times. Let's see. The purebloods, I mentioned that. Ogi pretending that he liked the situation that Britannia won, even though he didn't. Oh, here's another one I liked. So when Ogi's talking... When Ogi's talking to the Black Knights, not the Black Knights, the terrorists, they weren't Black Knights back then. Really early on in the episode, I thought it was really brilliant writing that, again, no one talks about. It was actually really smart. When they're in the Tokyo Tower, come on. Was he here? Yeah. They speculate that Suzaku was the one who contacted them, because Suzaku, if he killed Clovis, he was working with a terrorist group at the time to fight off the Britannian soldiers. So that was actually really smart. They thought it was Suzaku contacted him, which probably would have made sense. And they figured Suzaku wanted help to rescue him or something. They're like, did he contact us before or after he was captured? Obviously, he didn't contact them, but probably would have been before. That was actually really smart. I don't know why I never noticed that, but that was actually pretty good writing right there. So I thought that was pretty good. They also mentioned Suzaku had a family, but we never see them because they broke contact. I mean, that's true. Ugh, God, I keep smacking this thing. Okay. Hands off. All right. They mentioned Suzaku has a family, which is cool, but we never really hear much of them because I guess they broke off contact. But you think when he became, I don't know, the Knight of 7, they might have been more interested in, talking to him again? We know, obviously, with Kaguya, but no one else was interested in wanting to talk to Suzaku. That part was kind of weird to me. They kind of just threw it out there. Like, oh, he has a family, but, they kind of forgot about him. Or they broke off contact. That's an unfortunate subplot we never got to see much of. That could have been kind of interesting. But I thought that was good. We see Kaguya randomly. Yeah, I don't know why they showed you that, but she's kind of just there. Yeah, Tamaki really is the most annoying person in the show. Like, he literally is the most annoying thing I've ever seen. He either is a cheerleader to Lelouch, or he's the biggest downer / jerk face ever. Like saying, "Oh, we should take credit for it." Yes, go ahead. Go out there in public and say this terrorist group killed Clovis. Yeah, that's a smart idea, Tamaki. Or then go, what? Why is he going out there? He's gonna get killed. Tamaki, he has a plan. Weren't you listening? And the guy was like, "Yeah, Lelouch thought about all these variables." And Tamaki's like, "It was a coincidence." No, Tamaki, your life is a coincidence. The fact that you haven't died yet, that's a coincidence. I mentioned Saku's. Yeah, Saku went to go face the court martial to protect the 11th honor of Britannians, which again no one ever talks about, but that actually was pretty smart. Oh, see, two's return to Nullly, that's important too. There's two times in Code Geass where Nullly gets surprised by immortals. Do I have the image of it? Probably not. Yeah, right here. This is the first time, and the other time is end the show, which is kind of interesting when V2 comes and surprises her when she's in the Ashford Academy. So kind of a random thing, but I noticed that. And I think that's that. Okay. Okay, so now, why is Lelouch's plan to take down Jeremiah so brilliant? Well, I wrote a bunch of notes down. We're going to go through all the major ones. First of all, Lelouch took advantage of Jeremiah's not necessarily stupidity, but his motivations and emotions, because he was trying to make a big show of Suzaku being executed. Probably because this is just a opinion. They don't necessarily say that in the story, but because Jeremiah felt so bad while having to Marion, he wanted to really make sure people knew he got credit for finding the one who killed Clovis, because he felt like a failure after what happened to Marion. So that's why he probably made a big deal out of this, because to him, if he can put the guy who killed Clovis behind bars or execute him, it would kind of redeem himself. So Lelouch doesn't know about that part, but he knows you might want to make a big deal of it. He's not sure why. So he knew that if he came in with Clovis's car, Jeremiah would be like, okay, let's go check this out. And all Lelouch had to do was get close to Jeremiah to use the Geass on him. And that's the most important part. He also knew that Jeremiah had no idea about the gas, which is important because he could use that to threaten all the civilians. And the reason why, not the reason why, but a lot of people like to say that, try this one more time. The reason why, okay, one more time. People always say that Jeremiah made it easy for him. That if the situations were different or they weren't so obvious, Lelouch basically took advantage of what they were doing. And again, like I said before, in like my first episode analysis, taking advantage of people doing stupid things doesn't mean you're like just like the tallest midget. It means you actually are quite smart. Taking advantage of people's mistakes is one of the biggest key aspects and more. And if the situation was different, let's say Jeremiah took different standards, maybe different precautions. Maybe he transports Suzaku in a armored car underground. Lelouch would have done something differently. But the point is, because this is the situation that was presented in front of him, he came up with the best plan in the smallest amount of time possible, by the way. He came up with this like 3 days. He figured out not only how we're going to get to Jeremiah and Suzaku, how we're going to escape, and how we're going to make sure we don't get killed. Because even if they got to Jeremiah and maybe were able to bargain Suzaku's freedom or just get closer to Suzaku, how the hell are they going to not get killed by the guards? So he thought of all this in a matter of a couple of days. And again, if things were different, where let's say Jeremiah had some other plan in mind, Lelouch would have done something different. Obviously, it's not a critique of, let's say, oh, the guy was stupid, Lelouch isn't smart, the guy was just stupid. That's not what happened here. Jeremiah was obviously a little. He probably was doing too much here with the celebration, but to say like it was completely his stupidity that won the day is not accurate. Unless someone else had a Geass power, no one else could have done that. You'd have to have Geass to have accomplished what Lelouch did. So the situation is perfect for Lelouch, but that doesn't mean it was like Jeremiah was acting like an idiot there. That's the thing people kind of get wrong when it comes to that scene. And then overall, the episode was very good. We learned about Suzaku and Lelouch's motivation experience and Lelouch's brilliant plan. So I give it an 8 out of 10. I don't know if it's 10 out of 10, but it's 8 out of 10 is kind of where I see it. Okay. Let's go through some comments. And then I think there's a picture drama. I should have researched better. Again, I was really busy on a video today, so I didn't get a chance to do it. But I believe there's a picture drama associated with this episode because it explains Jeremiah's motivations behind why he was doing this. Let me see. It's called Miscellaneous Picture Dramas. Okay. I think there's one. Yeah, there's one. 4.33. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I thought so. We'll get that in a second. Okay, now let's go to the comments. Jesus Monorame. There is a lot. Okay. Let's see. I haven't installed the game yet. Do we have to wait when it's October 4th in the US? I don't think so because it's already been released in Japan, so I think we're fine there. I'll be doing it tomorrow morning because I don't have time right now. I'm kind of streaming in case no one noticed. That was a joke. I'm just saying. Episode 4 is fantastic. 10 out of 10. Yeah, I would say 8 out of 10, but it's good though. It wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad episode. That's for sure. Another thing was stupidity. Damn it, Tamaki. Tamaki is just, oh god. Lloyd, Tamaki, Ribble are all comedy reliefs, but Lloyd's actually smart and important. Rivel, I wouldn't call the only thing relieving about Rivel is when he's not on screen. Then I feel good. The stuff Saku does that people think is annoying makes sense for someone real to do. But Tamaki just provides nothing other than a few pointless comments. Tamaki's only goal is to piss me off and probably audience by saying the most idiotic stuff that, oh my god, well, really Tamaki, like, it's just, dude, like, really? We should have done it. Man, every time Tommy gets like owned, it's the greatest thing ever. I don't get about the whole pure bloods framing Suzaku when they still get in trouble for fabricating evidence. They basically did nothing about the death of the member of the royal family. Probably, but I would say that would they still be in trouble from them? Probably not. I mean, Britannia is pretty racist at this point. We've seen examples of the government like not caring. If it was someone else, you might have a point, but I think because it's the no, I think they'd be fine. They have to. Well, first of all, someone has to uncover it, right? And as Lloyd said, they'd rather blame an 11 than one of their own. So technically speaking, if that's the mindset, then they're all going to work together to stop the 11. Now, if it was a Britannian uh, doing a framing another Britannian, you might have a point there. But 11s are lower class citizens, so even though you're right on the law point of view, they wouldn't do that. I mean, they were not letting Lloyd or Cecile testify, so that indicates to me that everyone was on it. Even Lelouch said, like the prosecutor, the jury, all of it is designed to get him executed. So it was pretty clear that this was a one-sided situation. It's a good point, though. Where do you guys find the queue up to download? Honestly, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure exactly how that works yet. I'm still new to this stuff too, so I can't answer that question. I'll be looking into it though, tomorrow morning or afternoon, depending on how our stuff goes. In these early episodes, Jeremiah seems like a different character than he is later on. Early he acts antagonist and rude, and opposed to later where he obsessed in loyalty and honor. He's also racist too. They say later on, it's not his episode, but the next one, I believe, he mentions how he wants to end the whole honorary Britannian program. It might have been this episode, I'm not sure, but he said he wanted to end it. So obviously he hates the 11s. I believe it's what he mentioned. Like if the purebloods take over the military, then they're going to make sure there's no more honorary Britannians anymore. I believe that was his idea. I don't remember if it was this episode or the next one. So Jeremiah was also racist too. But then again, you have to be racist to be part of the Britannian military. It's like the first thing you learn. This probably made me sound really clueless, but when I first saw the episode, I didn't realize that Lelouch and Zero were the same person. I thought Zero was a new character. I'm not sure, because wasn't he wearing the helmet? Okay. I'm not sure. I never got that, but I mean, it is what it is. I was like, who's Mysterious Zero character? I hope he's a recurring character. Eventually I found that Lelouch was Zero. I mean, didn't he put the helmet on in that episode? So, then again, you know what? I'm not exactly a smart guy either. When I first read Harry Potter Goblet of Fire, oh, this is a big spoiler, by the way, but some character died, and I didn't know he died. So, and it was pretty obvious, too. I'm not going to say who, because in case you've read that book, I'm not going to say the spoiler, but yeah, I'm pretty stupid, too, so I get it. I think he asked Lelouch Lamperouge, and a girl named May come up in a search if Lelouch did. Here's the thing, though. That's a good point. But remember, Suzaku didn't know Lucius' identity was Lamperouge until episode 6 when they reunited at school. Because he asked him, he said, what do I call you now? And Lucius was like, well, technically I'm dead by my old identity, So I have a new one that says Lamperouge. Suzaku didn't know that, so you can't go with that explanation. Otherwise, you're right. That's what he could have done. I assume he just said Lelouch, which doesn't mean anything. There could be like 20 Lelouches. Maybe not. Maybe it's not a common name. I was like, Zero had. I like the line Dieter has when he hears the name Zero. Zero, you mean like nothing? Yeah, I love that too. That's probably the best way to explain the identity. That's a really good one. Otherwise, the scene also confused me. Uh, how would Zaku know Lucy Lampert? Exactly. Uh, he wouldn't know because we don't find episode 6. So, yes, that's why I was saying that too. This has what I mean. That's right. Tommy kept coincidence, and I'm staring in my head. You strategize for once and go up against the army, you idiot. Yeah, easy. Contemptible means. Yeah, that's what Zaku says. Any contemptible means like it's not worth it. Zero, join me, Saku. Saku actually proved my innocence, saying Zero. Damn it. Yeah, it's funny. I'm gonna make a sin for every count. Have triggers me and gives me a stroke. Well, if that's the case, you may pass away before you get a chance to finish the counter. But yeah, I mean, it's only been like what 4 episodes, and I just Tamaki is just really driving me crazy. Any ends gained through contemptible means aren't worth anything. That's his line. Yep. I don't know. I find Tamaki's flip flopping kind of funny. I mean, okay, you're entitled to your opinion. I don't know. I guess it's funny if you turn your brain off. The problem I can't when I'm watching Code Geass because part of the fun of the show is the intelligence behind it. So, not saying about Saku's mother or other family was such a missed opportunity, just like Helen's father. Yeah, I mean, it would be kind of cool to learn more about Saku's family because you think they would be more interested with his rise to power. I mean, becoming the Knight of One, well, not the Knight of Zero, Knight of Seven in the Britannian military. I mean, I understand like when he joined the military, that probably pissed off people, but when he rose the ranks, there was no reason not to. His family wouldn't come out to see him. That was kind of a lost missed opportunity. I think Suzaku has two cousins like Kage and distant relatives like Kirihara. I think many of them were probably killed for supporting Zero during the Black Rebellion or exile. I mean, yeah, but we don't know that. That's what I'm saying. And when you see Suzaku's tombstone near the end of the show, it's kind of spoiler, but whatever. When you see his tombstone, you don't see it by anyone else. So if someone else did die, a family member, they don't show you that, which would be kind of interesting. Why is Tommy still alive in the game? He'll die in the future. Unfortunately, no. One thing I'll say with Jeremiah is that his hatred of the 11th was probably combined with the death of the prince, Lelouch, and Nunnally, the children of Marion, and the woman he worshipped. Yeah, probably. Could Jeremy be racist toward Levens because he believed that he killed Lelouch and Nunnally and possibly Marion and wanted vengeance slash justice? Uh, Maybe. He never really states that, but it's definitely not a bad theory about why exactly he was racist. But I know he was trying to end that whole program, or the whole Honor Britannia program, which is why I believe that's why I know he was racist. All right, now the picture drama, which I'll go through real quick. No, not 6, 4. Yeah. All right, so this one's pretty good. This is actually one of the most important picture dramas in all of Code Geass. And surprisingly enough, people don't really know much about it. But in this picture drama, we learned that Jeremiah was actually a guard for Marianne. And when she died, or when she was killed, he was upset because he couldn't protect her. And now Clovis is dead, so he's upset about that too. He failed twice. And that's why he was so determined about the situation with Suzaku, because he wanted to make amends for what happened. It's a really good episode. I kind of wish they had made this an actual part of the show, considering we had to have a lot of this is a point that DX made, which I'm not a big fan of the YouTuber, but I actually kind of agreed, which was this should have been an episode. It shouldn't have been a picture drama. This isn't supplementary. That's not the word. Supplemental information. This is actually very important to Jeremiah's character, and the fact they don't make this in your face as opposed to other stuff they show you is kind of insulting. But yeah, they should have done more with this. It's still good though. It's a very good picture drama. One of the better ones. Usually the picture dramas are kind of silly or fan servicey or not that important, but this is actually required watching. You have to watch this one when you're watching the show. So good picture drama for sure. And we also get to see more about Jeremiah's personality, which is never a bad thing, and his motivations. So yeah, it's a good. Can I close this? Nice. Okay. So that's episode 4 in a nutshell. Definitely not my favorite, but it was good though. Again, I really like the plan that. Wait a minute. You guys didn't see it, did you? Damn Damn it. 1 second. Okay. I should have... that's my bad. Okay, I should have showed you guys while I was talking with stuff. Anyway, so I was saying here, this is what it looks like. I already went over it, but this is what it looks like. As you see, Jeremiah was more a little excited about Suzaku and dealing with him. Okay, so that's that. All right, let's move on to episode 5, which was pretty good, although it you know what, it was all right. I wasn't a big fan of it. I'll go on and say that. It wasn't the worst episode, but it definitely wasn't my favorite. Let me get the images loaded up real quick. Okay, episode 5 starts with we get to see Cornelia's first. Let's say Cornelia's first introduction to the show, and she also made, of course, Guilford and Dalton. Where's Dalton? Well, he's here. Don't worry about it. He's here. And they killed this, I guess this Arabian. It's kind of weird because I believe I think Cornelia's like, I'm sorry for my brother's incompetence. So they were cleaning up Area 11. I don't think they were. What's kind of weird about this scene, I made note of it, was that Cornelia says that Clovis was an idiot, but she also wants to avenge him. So it's just kind of odd to me how she's saying one hand, God, Clovis was a fool. And the other hand, though, I'm still going to avenge him. I don't know if I would speak that way towards someone I cared about. Kind of a weird introduction to Cornelia's character, but it is what it is. But yeah, so we first see Cornelia, and then Suzaku's gonna get released. Oh, that's right. First we meet C2. Well, we meet C2 again. We've already seen her once, right? She's talking to Lelouch. They talk about their promise to each other, the contract. Nelly thinks it's marriage. Lelouch's like, no, it's not marriage, none of that stuff. And C2's like, no, it's serious. It's very serious. Also, apparently C2 knows origami. Kind of a random little fact, but she actually knows origami. She's 700 years old? So I guess she learned it on her way, through life. Anyways, they're talking in the room, and C2's like, I don't belong anywhere. And he's like, okay, you talk about the power he had. He asks her a bunch of questions, and ultimately he gets nowhere. Also, she says this funny thing where it's I knew he'd be an interesting guy, and a gentleman would sleep on the floor. But we know later on they share the bed. We'll get to that episode later, but it's episode 7 for what's it called? I guess spoilers. So they're talking, and she basically tells him nothing, which is typical of C2. Doesn't say anything about the contract. Now, eventually, the bunch of terrorist groups are starting to revolt because of what Zero did. Jeremiah's having issues again. He was demoted. Not so ranks here, but he's losing a lot of respect amongst the military, and everything's in shambles. Here's another thing too. During this scene, they mentioned about the Gurren. And that's important because usually in or one of the complaints I've seen for Code Geass is that they don't refer to anything by its name. They just say, that or him. But they've referred to Toto early on. They referred to the Gurren here. There's a couple of times where they say different people's names. So they actually do refer to characters and things, not just generic pronouns. This is one of the examples of that. Lelouch explains to C2 about the orange, which is something he came up with. And he also explained that he wants the rules can go into more chaos. And then we get to Yuffie's grand entrance where she falls on Suzaku and starts their romantic relationship. Apparently she lied to him about people were chasing after her. And even though he tried asking her 1,000 times what the real reason was, she didn't give him a straight answer. So they start doing their thing. The purebloods want to kill Jeremiah because, he's ruining their legacy and their not only but their position and their authority because he makes them look bad, which makes sense because he kind of screwed up everything. And I think Kuehl was saying he doesn't remember anything. Bartley doesn't remember anything. They were clearly bribed. I think they were using the whole. They thought he was bribed or something, which is a very reasonable explanation. So Valletta's kind of aware something's going on there because she actually believes Jeremiah could have memory problems because she had memory problems after Lelouch, used the Geass on her. So that's what's going on there. They're having their little trip together. Suzaku was wearing the glasses, by the way. I never understood this until much later, but Suzaku was wearing the glasses because he didn't want people to notice who he was. Although, ironically enough, Yuffie still figured out, which is actually interesting because Yuffie also figured out who Lelouch was from wearing the Zero Mask. So I guess we kind of get a little foreshadowing of Yuffie's ability to figure out people wearing disguises. Kind of random, but yeah, Yuffie's actually quite the detective. She missed her calling. Uh, so they go exploring together. She talks to cats, apparently. Whatever the heck that's about. We meet Arthur for the first time. Lloyd's like, wait a minute, what's the princess doing with Suzaku? But I guess he just lets them do their thing. So they're spending the whole time together exploring the area. Apparently, Yuffie was going to go back to school or something. I wasn't entirely clear why Yuffie was running away. Was it because she didn't want to? I got the impression she just hated the whole military, not military, the royal family just wanted to die because she felt like her life had no meaning or something. That's what I kind of thought it was. And I guess if Cornelia is in Britannia, she'd have to be under her forever or something. I don't know. I wasn't entirely clear what Yuffie was running from. They didn't really explain that. You kind of had to infer it, I guess, from other episodes. Anywho, so they're still talking. She wants to go to the Shinjuku ghetto. Then we get this funny scene. I thought it was kind of funny, where Lucia's talking to Colin, and she's like, "Hey, do you know the person who made that call?" And Lucia's like, "I have no idea." But he sees C2, and he grabs her face, and of course, Shirley also happens to be there either, same time rather. And it's funny because if Shirley was there a little late earlier, she would have seen C2 because, as you know, Shirley and C2 never meet in the original anime. And then, of course, she's like, "What are you doing?" What indeed? Shirley's having the right place at the right time to see Lelouch nearly kiss Colin, even though that's not what's going on at all. We see Bartley and his fat bum being sent back to Britannia. Then C2 and Lelouch talk about Geass, and he explains how this girl is writing stuff on the wall or putting marks on the wall to test the length of his ability. Lelouch is like, "Hey, if you don't mess with me, if you mess with me, I'm going to use my Geass on you." And she's like, "Would it work on me?" And Lelouch, and of course, we know it wouldn't work. And she tells him, "It doesn't matter. I'm on your side." And Lelouch's like, "Yeah, okay, whatever the hell that means. Someone who's on my side won't even share secrets with me." Is what it is. They go to the Shinjuku ghetto, and then they haven't seen anything yet. Right? You got these guys. By the way, we're going to see these guys later on in the show. So I give Code Geass credit. They do have a little bit of continuity with their characters, and I'll explain what I mean when we get to episode 6. But they actually did a good job with these characters and their consistency. So Jeremiah goes off to a place because he thinks that's where Zero is with intel. Of course, we know it's really a trap. Valletta knows this too, and she wants to go help Jeremiah. Eventually, Tamaki gets involved. He tells these brats to run away because Tamaki is, a very smart guy, going on public. But anyway, so Suzaku is like, he comes in there, he says, no more fighting. Or he comes there with the glasses, he knocks off his head, and of course, he is revealed to be, Suzaku. Everyone knows who he is. Which again shows the whole point that he was wearing the glasses so people wouldn't recognize him because he is kind of hated amongst Britannians and 11s. Tamaki says stuff about how he thinks that Suzaku was a traitor, and he's not entirely wrong, but he's not entirely right. I think there's some good points he was saying, how he sold his country and his empire and all that stuff. At the same time, Tamaki doesn't understand what Suzaku's real intentions were. He doesn't know the full situation. He's speaking it from an outside point of view. And again, that makes sense considering what he knows. And the best part, of course, he gets owned by Suzaku and he gets knocked on the floor. The civilians said that he should have killed Tom. I agree with these civilians or these students. He should have killed Tamaki. These two guys, leave him alone. But Tamaki, man. Suzaku has had so many chances to kill Tamaki both in person and in Knightmare Film combat, which shows that he really doesn't want to kill anyone if he doesn't have to. At least this early on. And of course, we get the part where these two people are saying, "You should have killed them" and stuff. And then I think, she slaps him in the face. Epic slap. Such a good scene. And of course, they broke the camera. Yeah, these guys are such garbage. So C2 takes off Lelouch's clothes, and she actually puts on her own in front of Lelouch, which is the first time of, I think, many where she changes in front of him. Although they're not really close yet, like friends or even comrades, but I guess she doesn't give a darn. When you're 700 years old, it makes sense. Lelouch explains the extent of his Geass abilities, which is important. We don't see him testing it, but we can assume that he was, which is why he knows all this information. Then C2 is like, okay, well, how would you end the war? What's the plan? And they go this whole back and forth where Suzaku and Lelouch are basically completing the same thoughts about the problems with the world. And Lelouch reveals his big plan, which is to end the fighting. If the fighting stops, the conflict ends, which is pretty much Lelouch's whole strategy from the get-go. We see the clock that Suzaku had from his father after, unfortunately, he killed him. He also explains that Genbu had to die, but he doesn't explain the real reason behind it because he hasn't told anyone yet what happened. Then we get this fight that breaks out between Jeremiah and all the purebloods, and Lloyd comes in there to, I guess, I'm not really sure, they were following him, so I guess that was the reason why he had to show up randomly. And he said, Suzaku was like, well, I kind of want to test the Knightmare frame out, so I said, okay, sure, go for it. They were just there because of, they shouldn't be in a situation with the purebloods fighting. Suzaku comes in there to help out Jeremiah. And Jeremiah's like, why would he help me out if he was, if I tried to kill him earlier? I didn't know that he knew Suzaku was in the Lancelot. Was that public knowledge? Concerning the time of events, I didn't know he knew that Suzaku was in the Lancelot. Maybe there was some conversation I missed, or maybe there's some hidden information that's kind of obvious. Was everyone aware? Like, did he know he was in the Lancelot? Anyways, it doesn't really matter. He comes to help them out. This whole combat scene, by the way, is really good. And here's another cool scene I like. So he mentions that the Varises were just not the Varys, the vibrant swords. There's like, what's the term? Vibrant something swords. These things basically, they were just perfected. The show puts subtle hints about the advancement of the Knightmare frame technology throughout. And that's one of my favorite examples. Where, oh my god, they perfected the swords, which was kind of cool. He wipes out the Harkins/Harkins, takes out Knightmare frames. He even is able to defend against a frag mine, which was really cool right here. And then Euphemia reveals herself to be the princess. Everyone stops the fighting. And then the episode ends with Yuffie saying she wants to be with Suzaku. And then ultimately Cornelia shows up and is kind of pissed off because they're spending time with, stupid things like her celebration and welcoming event when they should be going after Zero. And then Suzaku joins Ashford Academy. And that's the episode 5. Overall, it's perfect. Was interested in a lot of characters and a lot of, concepts, but it wasn't really my favorite one. I get like a 6 out of 10. I think the reason why it just wasn't was because maybe things were too fast. In Yuffie's situation, I was a little confused on that one. I don't know. Not a lot happens, but didn't feel like it. If that makes any sense. Like with Lelouch's plans, nothing really progressed a whole lot. This was more about the Britannians kind of doing infighting. And we meet Euphemia, which is always she's a great character. And her and Suzaku start their friendship and soon be romance from this episode. But yeah, not my favorite, but there's a lot of good stuff. I want to see if anything I missed when I was going through it. Let's see. Oh, good line from C2 at the very beginning when Lucia's like, we're just supposed to be dead. And C2 says that a lot in the show, which is kind of funny. Several terrorist groups are causing issues. I mentioned that one. Jeremiah ruined everything. I think I said that already. C2 is eating pizza for the first time. She racks up points, as we know. Let's see. Big Globe, I guess, is their Wikipedia page. C2 has certain shenanigans. I think. Oh, here's something else, too, I got a question about. So, I forgot to rewatch the first episode. But when Lucy talks to C2 on the roof, he says, I'll use my Geass on you. Did C2 ever call it Geass when they first met? He says they did, but I don't remember that. I'm going to look up real quick. There's a site that has like all the transcripts in the show, and I don't remember her ever calling it Geass. But I'm going to check real quick. I'm going to type the first episode and just search for the word Geass, because I'm pretty sure I'm pretty sure that she never called it Geass, but I could be wrong. Let's see. Yeah, there's no reference to Geass anywhere in that first episode. So I don't know how Lelouch learned it was Geass. He claims C2 told him, but I don't think she ever told me was Code Geass. All she said was, if I grant you power, could you go on? I propose a deal. In exchange for this power, you must agree to make my one wish come true. Accept this contract and you accept its conditions. We're living in a world of humans. You'll live unlike any other. A different providence, a different time, a different life. And the power of the king will condemn you to a life of solitude. Are you prepared for this? So is the power of the king Code Geass? Is that where that came from? Because um oh, flashback of noise or something. I don't know, because it wasn't clear like when he actually heard it. But that's one thing I was thinking about, because he said like uh when he first heard Geass, I don't remember him. I don't remember her actually saying that to him. But also, C2 makes it clear what her intentions are because she wants him to. She says like early on that they're going to work together on this, but only for her wish, not for whatever he's trying to accomplish. Yeah, I mentioned the ghetto is pretty awful. They really ruined it. Those Britannia students were god awful too. I think. Oh, they're called Master Vibrant Blades. That's right. I know what I was saying. Master Vibrant Blades, which is really cool. And yeah, that's it. Okay. I'll read some comments and we'll move on to the next episode. I'm sure there's a lot. Okay. Where's the first one? Pure Blood faction was disgraced. Pure Blood faction was disgraced. Remember how Jeremiah and his group were basically the back guard during Cornelia's assault later? Probably not the framework for the Orient connection. They were screwed. That's true. One thing I'll say about Jeremiah is hatred of Eleven was probably. Oh, I think I read that one. My bad. Cornelia is such an awesome character. Despite the main tag R1, I ended up rooting for her several times. Yeah, she's a cool character because you kind of understand her motivations, and she is obviously extremely racist, and again, she's a antagonist for a reason, but she's still kind of cool. She's not an idiot. She reminds me of an eviler version of Mira Armstrong from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Both super strong and powerful ladies. Not bad in the eyes either. She was probably talking about how he was a fool, allowed himself to be defeated and killed, unlike a warrior like herself. But that she's still going to avenge him because he was her brother. Okay, that's a fair point. I'm just saying, I wouldn't speak ill of my brother if I was going to avenge his life, but I'm not Cornelia, and Britannia must be different. Lelouch and C2 share a bed. Could Lelouch afford a separate bed for C2? Yeah, that might be kind of suspicious, though, right? I mean, he might say, like, hey, Millie, I need a second bed in my room. And she might say, for what exactly? And he might go, oh, no reason. I just need a second bed. That might be kind of suspicious. Now, he could have got, let's say, a sleeping bag or something. But look, maybe that bed is so comfortable, he couldn't help it. I have no idea. Something I respect about Lelouch is that he isn't distracted by C2's fan service. He lounges around him in his shirt. He doesn't even care. Well, he doesn't care when we see him with her, but yes. Suzaku looks cool with the shades on. Yes, he does. I didn't understand either what she was running away from. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I get the feeling Yuffie wasn't being allowed to go out about like a normal person and see what she wanted to before her official position took effect. So I don't think she was running. Are you saying like she was but playing hooky instead last time while she could? Okay. That's not a bad explanation. Basically, kind of sort of what I was thinking, where she wasn't happy the fact she would have no freedom, so she wanted to do something else. Although why she jumped off out of the window is a little concerning to me because, then again, she had the what was it, the pillow sheets, so maybe she wasn't going to die if she failed. I guess that was kind of weird. She said, "Look out below." She jumped out the window, so yeah, she almost killed herself. Anyway, too bad Suzaku was a bit of a pacifist, doesn't kill an R1. R2, Suzaku would have been kicked with head off. Tamaki's head off, probably. Another positive feat for Lelouch, maybe smarter than Light, is that he figured out a lot about his Geass and abilities restrictions without a Death Note rulebook. So he did mention he figured out a short time. Yeah, but Light also figured out the Death Note rules by experimenting. Like there were official rules where Yuke wrote, but Light figured out the limits behind these rules. And there was a part where he told Ryuk, by the way, did you know you could do this and that? And Ryuk's like, I didn't even know that was a thing. So I think Light had a more of a basis to work with, which I will agree with, but he still had to do a lot of experimenting with the Death Note, especially the limits of what you can do, because the rules of the Death Note are very vague. It just says things like, you can tell a person, they're lasting before they die or something. Okay, but what about how that affects other people? There's a lot of additional things you got to figure out, and I'm pretty sure the rules that were given were not very. There weren't too many. So Suzaku, they're kind of similar. Light had to figure out how that worked. So yes, he had a little starting point, but he still had to do a lot of experimentation to figure out the Death Note rules. Jeremiah probably knew because he denied Lloyd and Steele's testimony, and Suzaku wasn't a landslide. Ah, yes, there we go. That was why he knew. He calls it Geass to her, and then everyone else just adapt the name, and I'm pretty sure. Yeah, but when did he say it, though? Or he told her it was Geass? Because he said, you told me it was Geass, so he couldn't have... I don't know, it's kind of confusing. No, he heard in the flashback background noise when the contract was made with the images. He was saying something only he heard. Okay. Hey, look, if that's the case, I'll go with it. But I just don't remember him ever. I don't remember him ever saying it, or her saying it, like where it came from. I know the show was called Code Geass, right? But I just don't. I don't recall. I don't recall him ever telling him that. But maybe that's the case. I mean, it must have been like a whisper or something, because there was no actual indication of her telling him, at least out loud, what it was called. Just curious, was there any auto drama that took place during this time? Of course, I do this now instead of. I'm trying to remember any audio dramas. See, the problem with they don't tell you exactly what the we'll probably do it another time. We won't do the audio dramas in this series, but he said it came with a name to her, I think in episode 7, but I could be wrong. I watched 6, and I don't discuss it, so must have been 7. But yeah, that's 5 in a nutshell. I mean, it served its purpose. It brought in new characters, but it wasn't the most, I guess, impactful to the story. Well, it was very impactful, but like we didn't get a lot of Lelouch action, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, we'll move on to episode 6, which a lot of people said it was really terrible. But, I remember Giga was talking about it in that video recently with Trash Taste, and he was saying how the episode was just really stupid. The one where his what's it called? His mask was stolen, right? But there was actually a lot going on in that episode, and I actually really really enjoyed it. That's a good point. I should probably do that. Elysian Empire. I'm gonna make a note of that. Maybe I should have a little thing. I'll do it myself so I don't forget. Make like a start of a comment for each episode. I know we have discussions about the episodes, and things get what's it called, confusing. So that's a good point. That's actually a really good idea. But yeah, 6 apparently was hated, but it was actually pretty solid episode. We learned a lot about the characters. The first 10 minutes are very kind of serious, and the last 10 were kind of silly, but we do get some good stuff from it. So I'm not sure if people didn't like it, but okay. The episode starts off with a plot hole. I think it's a plot hole. Where is it? I don't have it here. Basically, the Emperor is talking to Clovis. He says, like, the guy tells him Clovis's body will be here soon. He's like, I've been talking to him. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. If you're here it is. If you're talking to Clovis, then does that mean you know what Clovis knows? If that's the case, then you know Lelouch has the Geass, or that Lelouch was in contact with with C2, because there are only 2 immortals, and you know of the one you were looking at. So I was always confused about this part here. Because we're talking to Clovis, what does that did Clovis tell him? Because if Clovis said there was a girl with green hair who was immortal or something, and Lelouch used some power on me, I don't remember exactly what happened, then Charles could figure out, oh, Lelouch has Geass, and C2's with him. Got it. I'll keep that in mind later. But they never kind of go with it or explain that. It was kind of weird. Not a huge problem, but just like, okay, I didn't know if Charles could talk to Clovis, then he would have learned all that information. But I'm sure there's more going on than that. I guess. Anyhow, so the show starts off with Suzaku starting school again, or I guess starting school. He never had did he have proper schooling? I don't think so. I think they mentioned he's never had proper schooling before. So he's trying to figure out his bearings straight. We see these three students here. By the way, we'll see these three students again. Colin has this actually kind of adorable expression. Nina's like, "It's an 11. We can't go near him." And Shirley's like, "I don't know. It'd be kind of cool." And Rivel's like, "No, don't do that because you'll scare him." Right. Lelouch does that little famous signal where he does this to get Suzaku to go on the roof. And we see the most common high school trope in anime, the roof meetings. So they're talking here, and this is what I was mentioning earlier. Suzaku asks Lelouch, "What do I call you now?" And Lelouch says, "Our records of me I was killed." So he called me Lamperouge, which is interesting because when Lloyd looked him up, he was still alive. So he must have found Lelouch Lamperouge and not Lelouch v. Britannia. Actually, now I think about it, that still makes no sense because let's say there were a bunch of Lelouches that existed in this world. How would Lloyd know the difference between one and the other if they lived through that event? Maybe there's only one Lelouch that happens to be in Japan. Of course, if that was the case, then it's probably v. Britannia. But anyways, we're not going to go in this plot hole. It's just kind of weird. It's even a plot hole. So they're talking about the military, and apparently he was asking about C2, and he had no idea either, which is interesting. Again, doesn't say her name, just says the girl. So obviously he doesn't know. He doesn't know about her either, which again confuses me with the whole name situation. I should probably drop that, but it's just kind of weird. Anyways, we get this other part after that where we see Euphemia looking at different paintings, and she talks about how Clovis has had gentle hands with the drawings and stuff. And I'm thinking, Clovis killed thousands of people just so he wouldn't lose his spot in line for becoming Emperor of Britannia, which, let's be honest, was never going to happen anyway. So the fact that Euphemia is so naive about Clovis' intentions, it kind of sickens me. But again, it's good for character development and also world building because it shows the two sides of the coin, that apparently the royal family is seen as these really kind people, but deep down they're kind of evil. But I guess Euphemia wasn't willing to see that of him. Of course, Lelouch brings up the hypocrisy later on in episode 8, which was kind of good. We get to the scene where they're taking out the entire faction of terrorists, which probably have a name because Ogi calls Lelouch later on. And what is he says the name is called, if I forget, I'm really pissed. I wrote it down. I liked it. Was called the something samurai sword. Oh my god, what was it? Blood of the Samurai. That's right. This is the Blood of the Samurai faction being wiped out by Cornelia's troops. Ironically, I think it's mostly Cornelia. She comes in there and she basically massacres a bunch of turret people and turret guys, and then she comes in there and she just kills all these terrorists. Pretty depressing. She thought Zero would be there. Yeah, why would Zero be there? Who the heck knows? We get this famous scene later on where Suzaku is talking to, Lelouch brings Suzaku to meet up with Nunnally. They haven't seen each other in like 7 years, and apparently she recognizes his hand. That it's Suzaku. I guess I'm not really sure exactly how she knew that was his hand. I guess they had a strong connection in the past. I don't know if because she's blind does she have like other senses in the hand. That's why she recognized it. But either way, she knows it's Suzaku, and they're talking about life, I guess, and how, oh, right, he's in the, this is another thing too that kind of made me laugh. Suzaku says he's in the engineering corps, and it's less dangerous than the military. That's not really true because he's still put in the front lines all the time. So it's not less dangerous. It's roughly around the same level of danger. The only difference is that he's not always in combat when he could be, but he's still on the front line. So he technically lied to Lelouch here. Maybe he did it to make himself, to make him not worry. But still, that's technically not true. Anyways, he needs to get him stuff, so he walks out, leaves Suzaku to talk to Nunnally. And when he does, he chooses another room. They must have whispered because Suzaku didn't hear them. Or Suzaku was talking to Nunnally, and so, maybe he didn't hear it over his own voice. Then we meet Jeremiah. He's in jail. He gets what's it called, demoted to 3 ranks, and he meets Guilford. Or Guilford comes and tells that Cornelia's coming, and he's like, oh. But also he has two choices. Either he's going to do like an orange farmer, which is by way of foreshadowing of the show, or he has to start over from the beginning. So Jeremiah naturally is a little upset. Naturally, we get this part where they're talking about like Suzaku is saying that Lou should hide his identity from everyone else and we shouldn't be seen together. And he's like, "You think about other people again," which was a callback to the previous episode, no 4, where he says, "I'm going to face my court martial because I don't want other Levens slash honor Britannians to be harmed." So not only did Suzaku's sacrifice important, now it was important in the mentioning episode 4, but it comes back here, which is also pretty good. So I like the fact they had that callback. I should probably actually have like this. Uh, but that's that. Okay, so then he's upset with him, and he kind of walks away. So he just watching them for some reason. Then we get to this part where they're talking about, okay, here's something else too I thought was interesting. So Lelouch says he bombed the history test, but we know that. But then Real's like, I'm not buying it because we know Lelouch is a good student. Remember in like the first episode, Shirley's like, if he applied himself, he'd be good at school. Well, he is good at school, so the show has already contradicted itself several times as is. That's always interesting to point out. So Ogie's in trouble. He calls Lelouch. He mentions that the whole Blood Tower was wiped out by Cornelia's forces. And so he's like, should I cut ties? Well, he was thinking about it because Ogie was getting too familiar. I kind of like this part because even though Lelouch worked with Ogie like twice, he's still not really sure if they should still be a team or not. Which explains why in the 7th episode, which is the next one, he works with a different terrorist faction because, again, they haven't formed anything yet. We get to this part here. Oh, hold on. I'm going to go back a couple. Where was it? Do I not have the image of it? I'm going to be so pissed about the image of it. I don't have it. It was such a good scene, too. Okay. Hold on. I got to pull the episode. Give me like 2 seconds. It was a really good point, or good scene. It was a callback, rather. And it made sense, too, in given the context. Hopefully this won't destroy the stream. I'm trying to load a video. I don't know why it would, though, but, who knows these days. Okay. All right, so right here, let's see. There's a really good... Yeah. Wait, hold on. Where is it? Am I, like, misremembering? I just watched this. Let me the first thing. It was, like, really... You had to, like, really... Yeah. Okay, I was right. Give me 2 seconds here. Okay. Yeah. Remember these guys? These were the same people who Suzaku encountered at Shinjuku. The same students. And they spray painted his shirt. I thought it was a nice little callback to use the same characters who were mean to Suzaku in the previous episode to spray paint his shirt. So when he sees it later on, here, he had to clean off. I think it was, it said, I wrote a note of what exactly it said, which was, hold on. I thought I wrote, it was like, go back to your ghetto or something. That's what he told Suzaku to do, which is pretty rough. So that situation with that. Before we get to the second half of the episode, I want to change my battery just in case it runs out. So I'm gonna do that real quick, and then we will continue. So let me get my we'll be right back. Okay, cool. Okay, I'll be right back. Yeah, I thought so. Somehow my camera got misaligned for. I don't know how that happened, but it is what it is. Okay, so where we're left off. All right, so Nelly comes to Nina and she's like, "Oh my God, there's an 11. I'm so scared." Because Nina's, of course, racist toward 11 people, and not because she hates them or feels superior. It's more of a fear, racism out of fear. I guess because of the propaganda of her country. Nelly, of course, knows this is bullcrap and tries to tell her that, but she doesn't listen. So this is what it is. It is what it is. The guy comes deliver the pizza. We learn there's like a certain awards, and I think she's like crossing off enough stickers to get to cheese code. We don't see that till a little later on in the show. We get to probably one of the more controversial scenes in a joking fashion, which is when the cat takes the helmet and runs away with it. Of course, she too is kind of surprised. I love this expression she makes. Or Lucius, when he sees the cat, he's like, "Oh God!" Actually, it's not shown here. Let me grab it out. So right here. Wow, even here, like you don't see it. 1 second. So right here, he's looking, and then Code Geass is like the funniest screen setup. Oh, you're right. I keep doing that. I gotta remember. Man, I'm definitely not on my A game. Okay, there we go. My bad. My bad. Okay, you missed like three things. Nothing serious. So all I mentioned before was just I'm gonna go back. Man, this was one of those days. Okay, so there's a Disney racist part here. We're talking about like Suzaku and how he's not a bad person, but when you live in fear, that's what happens. Then we get that's from a different part. Then the pizza situation happens. He's putting away the outfit because of course it's evidence on like his Geass power. The cat comes in there, the helmet comes off, and then we get this scene where Lelouch is well, he's terrified. It's such a funny expression. The show isn't like a comedy, but it does have its moments with the cat running away. So Lelouch is chasing after it, which is it is what it is. I probably thought it was funny. And then there's another good part here where they're asking, they're talking to Nully about it. And she says there's something secret about it. And Lucius, he doesn't want anyone to find out. And so each person says a reason for why or what Lucius could be hiding. And I thought it was interesting because they all have a different idea. She says a love letter. She says an embarrassing photo. And he says poetry. Now, I'm not sure about these two significance, but for Nina, that makes sense because she also has a problem confessing her love because of her preferred choice, I guess. I don't think it's hard to say because on one end, I don't think Britannia is against homosexuality, but some of the students in the school don't they don't respect it, and we see later on in this episode they bring it up. There's a episode with the picture drama with the cross dressing event, and Nina mentioned that several people came out of the closet because of it. So obviously they were allowed to still go to school and no one was fired or expelled. So school was acceptant of that lifestyle, but I guess Nina was scared about it. Either way, her keeping a love letter a secret is very accurate. I thought it was I guess it was kind of foreshadowing. Anyways, Millie with her bull crap fan service crap to the school. This is why I don't like Millie's. This is one reason why I don't like Millie's character. She always brings like these really silly parts to the story. When she leaves high school and becomes a reporter, then she's a great character. Until then, though, nope. That's why I can't stand her character. So Lush runs into the bush, chasing after the cat. It runs around different areas. He uses the gas on these girls so they'll forget what they saw. Kind of a waste of a use, but it's what it is. Millie tells everyone if they find it, they'll get a budget. This scares Shirley, so she falls into the water. We learned that Colin apparently is beloved by all these guys who want her to kiss them. And one of these guys suggested it could be anywhere, which means, well, I'm going to tell you what that means. They basically wanted it in a certain location, which is kind of gross. But the important part about this is that we learn is that Colin never had a first kiss before, which is a callback to the end of the show where she kisses Lelouch, and that's important because that was her first one. She was saving it, and she instigated that kiss too. So I know this episode or this part's kind of ridiculous, but that fact about Colin, not kissing anyone before is kind of important. And so is this scene where these girls all want to, they all want Lelouch to kiss them, and she wants Millie, which honestly is not a bad choice. But they, of course, are like, oh, get back in the closet or something. So again, we learn about the tendencies of the students in the Britannia. So she's running away. She meets up with Shirley, who couldn't change because she wanted to catch the cat before they did. We get to this. There's a scene here where C2 meant how the school is very laid back. And I don't think it's a fair assessment to assume the school is always laid back. It just happens to be one of those situations. Plus, she kind of knows this, that they're not exactly the most strict school because she told Suzaku, when'd she tell him? I guess next episode it's a very liberal school. So she kind of knew that before she sent him, but I don't know. Kind of a weird observation. We get to this scene, which Rivel just pisses me off. He's like, man, if I catch the cat, do I get a kiss from anyone? And she's like, of course you do. So he's like, all right, let's do this. God, Rivel, such a simp for Millie. They're going to kiss the cat, but unfortunately, Shirley's like, but wait a minute. If you catch the cat, do you want a kiss from anyone? And she's like, what? And of course, they missed their opportunity. Eventually, Suzaku chases after the cat, and we see his ability as an athlete. We know Suzaku is in great shape, but the show implies here that he's in much better shape than Lelouch, which until this point, we weren't aware how bad Lelouch's fitness was, but yeah, it's pretty bad. He's completely out of shape. Eventually, they all corner the cat, which is by the tower, and then Suzaku uses his climbing Ezio skills to nearly catch the cat. And we got a part here where Lelouch realizes he might see the helmet on the cat's face, so he nearly commits suicide, so Suzaku would catch him in time. So basically, Lelouch nearly killed himself just so Suzaku wouldn't see the helmet, counting on the fact that he would save him. Even Suzaku's like, you're pretty calm for someone who almost, died, because, yeah, Lelouch was more concerned about the helmet than he was about dying, which is interesting. Of course, Millie was upset. She didn't learn anything about Lelouch's secrets, which comes, I believe, I think right after, here or something. I guess I don't have the picture, but he comes out and says, oh, you wanted to find a secret about me or something. And of course, they all suspect that Lelouch and Suzaku might be friends, which, again, is a reasonable question to ask. And it could just be, no, we just met. But Lelouch is like, yeah, we're friends, and I want him in the student council. And Nina, of course, wasn't happy about this. Now, what's interesting is that when they do induct him into the student council, was it here or something? I'm not sure which part of this it was, but when they did it, you notice how, let's go back a little bit. Yeah, no, not that one. I just had it. Man, I was so stupid. Where was it? I was just looking at it. Hold on. Hold up. Yeah, Nina is in the back here, so she doesn't even get involved to come up front to talk to Suzaku, even though she could have, which was kind of odd. Oh, and Millie's face here, by the way, like, I know R1 had some, the art was old for the time, but what is with this face? My God. I mean, wow. R1 has, like, most of the time, it's pretty consistent drawings, but, like, that's pretty bad. At least I think it is. So there's that. And we get the speech by Charles for Clovis's funeral. Oh, this too. Nully kisses both of them, which was kind of a double chip. But I don't think Lelouch and Suzaku wanted to kiss for anyone else, so I guess it is what it is. They got a party, and Shirley tells them to stop, Rivel to stop, which is a perfectly reasonable explanation. And again, they're all introducing Suzaku to the group, but Nina doesn't want to join in, which is unfortunate. Now, during this this speech, there's a lot of cool stuff going on. Number one, like I mentioned, these students here, they were from the intro to the show. So they're with them. I guess they're friends. Now, while Charles is talking, everyone has like a different reaction to the speech about, the strong versus the weak. Inequality is the right way to go. And I like everyone's reaction. So like Rivel, I'll go through it like this. I'll do it like here because I can't go through all of them with the images. Let's see. So during the speech, uh, oh, want to mute that. Okay, let's go. Like get to the. Yeah, see, Nina doesn't want to join in. All right, so during the speech, that's the royal family in the background. Um, he's looking at footage of Lelouch, Zero rather. Where's everyone's reactions? I guess I'll just watch it through, which I didn't really want to do. But come on. Charles talking, yes. All right, so Shirley she's kind of she is in awe of the speech. I'm not sure she agrees with what he's saying, but her expression is just someone who is in awe of like the whole experience. Then you see Rivel, who's like he's in love with this. What kind of expression is this? He's talking about inequality, how it's a good thing, and how we're going to strive to become the best. And his expression is kind of funny. It's almost like I don't know what to make of it. I don't think that's an appropriate thing to say, even if you agree with it. So it's kind of okay. He's loving this stuff. I'm not sure if that means that he's favors Britannian's awful rule or reign over people or their policies, but he's loving this. Then you go on, and then you see Millie's, who is very serious, which is interesting. I interpret it as either she's doesn't like this, or maybe she's not doesn't care either way. But her expression is very serious, which is interesting because she's a very lively and happy individual, very emotional. But here, she's like very serious, dead expression, which means she must hate what Charles is saying or doesn't really care either way. But you don't see her look like that much in general. Then Colin is obviously pissed off because this philosophy is the reason for her country being conquered, and she hates Britannia. So she's understandably very angry. Nina she's fairly calm, doesn't seem to care one way or the other. She's just like, yeah, this is fine. She's looking down because she's not proud, because we know Nina isn't a proud person. It's one of her flaws that she's very she has no self confidence, which leads to like practically all of her bad decisions. But she's like, yeah, she has no expression here. She's pretty much okay with this. That's the impression I get from her expression here. Uh, then we see Detard kind of just looking at the footage of Zero. He didn't care about Charles, which is great. Doesn't even give a darn. Then they're still talking. Then we see, and something else too, we see, yeah, pretty, no little expression from either of these two characters. The royal family is what I thought was the most interesting. I don't know if I've missed them yet. Let's see. Cecile, Lloyd obviously wouldn't care because he's a sociopath. Cecile is loyal to her country. That's why, she's kind of the way she is in terms of like the supporting it. I'm not sure if she really agrees or not, but yeah. Okay, so Cornelia is like, again, like Shirley earlier. She has the same. See how her eyes are kind of like shaking in awe of what her father is saying. But then you look at Euphemia, and she's upset because she doesn't believe this at all. This is not her ideal or her, I guess, philosophy about life and human beings and how we are equal, we're not unequal, and this whole like strong versus the weak and social Darwinism. Like she's clearly upset by this, but can't say anything because she's obviously part of the royal family. But I love the contrast between the two characters responding to this. Cornelia is evidently supporting of this and all of her father's words, while Euphemia is upset and wants to cry because this is not the correct way to live. And again, it's very interesting. You're seeing a lot of stuff. Well, no one's saying anything, but you sure learn a lot from all this. Which is why I don't know why people say this episode is terrible. Plus, you get this epic speech from Charles, which summarizes all Britannian culture, philosophy, military strategy. All of it comes together in this one speech that Charles talks about, or Charles says. It also discusses the EU and the Chinese Federation and their political, I guess, I'll say policies compared to Britannia's. It's a lot of world building too in the speech. It's one of those epic speeches in anime. If there was like a top 10 epic speeches for anime that wasn't said by an MC, this would probably be one of them. And oddly enough, this has nothing to do with Clovis either. He's just talking about Britannian dominance. This is nothing. I mean, he mentions Clovis very briefly, but this is more about just Britannian dominance. It's a lot of people, by the way. And now Suzaku's expression here, I wasn't sure what to make of this because he's like, so they see how he starts off like kind of like upset, like kind of like neutral, then he gets upset because I think deep down he doesn't like Charles because obviously he conquered his country and caused him to kill his own father. So if he wanted to change Britannia from within, he can't possibly like the speech. This part's kind of weird to me, and I kind of passed this one off because, well, I guess the show had different writing or they went a different direction because C2 acts like she has no idea who Charles is, but we know later on she does. She says, oh, this is your enemy, but she knew about Charles earlier. I give it a pass because I think R2's writing was different than the original plan. That's why you have this inconsistency in the characters. Because otherwise, this is an apparent contradiction because she's... And keep in mind, there's no one in this room, by the way. She's talking to herself. It's not like Lelouch is in there talking to her and she has to protect Charles for some reason. She's in this room by herself and she's saying out loud, this is Lelouch's enemy. She doesn't say, oh, there's Charles, or, oh, I see Charles is still doing his thing or something. She's like kind of confused. So it's kind of a pseudo plot hole. I guess, again, it must have been the writing. They didn't know what they wanted to do at this time. So that's kind of how I deal with that, I guess, apparent contradiction. But the episode 6 is really good because we see a lot more of Cornelia, which go early on. We learn about Nia's racism, which is a very important part of the story. Unfortunately, yes, the whole cat situation was kind of silly, but it does show a little about Lelouch's personality, how he was willing to die. He was more concerned about his secret getting out than possibly dying, and also the fact that because he worked with Suzaku in this situation, he could later on lean on him for future stuff, like when they deal with Mao. So it's good foreshadowing there. Good foreshadowing with the love letter from Nina. Good foreshadowing with Colin and the kiss. And we get more reasons why I don't like Millie and Rivals, but it is what it is. I don't mind the whole back and forth between, like, there's a war going on, right? While also the fact that they're having the symbols, the slice of life events. I think it works fine. It shows the contrast between the Gruul battle, the awful things the Levens are going through, while the Britannians are living a really nice life. I think it's a really good contrast between the two. We learn about Lelouch and his identity and how he was actually dead for the longest time, which explains why Clovis said, I thought you were dead, because he actually was considered dead. So they went over that. I thought that was a good part. Suzaku reuniting with Nully was a good scene. And then, of course, that epic speech at the end, which explains the entire philosophy of Britannia. And we get to see a little more about the characters from just how they react to the speech. So you put it all together, and there's a lot of stuff going on here. That's why it's a really good episode. I know that if you only look at the cast situation, you're like, oh, this is kind of stupid. But usually in the Code Geass filler episodes, there's actually a bunch of nuggets of information you can learn from them. Because there's no, like, definitive fillers in Code Geass. There's, like, a playful, fun event that goes alongside a couple of stuff that you gain from I guess from that. But no, episode 6 was really good. I think if people rewatch it again, they realize, wait, this is the one with the Charles speech? Yes, this is the one with the Charles speech. So I know where that's coming from. But this episode is fantastic. Okay. I probably got a lot of comments to read. Then we have to go through the picture drama for episode 6, which actually was okay. I wasn't a fan of it, but okay. Let's see. Someone put a comment saying, start at episode 6 comments. Thank you, Legion Empire. I appreciate that. I rewatched. They don't mention as the Geass, but as the power of the king. Probably somehow his mind translated as Geass, as later on Charles I to Geass, the power of the king. I was thinking the same thing. Just rewatched. That's cool. You watched it while I was doing. Excellent. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Like, I guess Geass is considered the power of the king. I just never. associated with the two. If you actually go on, I'm not going on now because it's like really tense on the internet. Like the Jezari Code website has a. Oh wait, hold on. I'll have to do that. I have a. One second. So Geass, according to GSR Code, there's like a terminology page. If you didn't know, it's kind of cool. Here's how it defines Geass: the key to paranormality, the engraving of the chain, which explains why Gigi has the chain. Although everyone says, if you listen to the audio from GSR Code, all the Japanese voice actors say Gigi. They don't say Gigi. Uh, but anyways, also it continues on by saying it's the front and back of human wishes and curses, also known as the king's power, the power to gain tremendous power. Wait, the power to gain tremendous power. I thought my writing was bad. While paying a great price, such as living with a different reason or different reason to humans. I guess the translation wasn't good. It's the manifestation of it's manifested by signing a contract with an immortal code holder who has a mysterious stamp called Code. The point is, it refers to the king's power as Gia. So I guess they're synonymous. That has to be what was going on there because they never actually said Gias when they first met, but that has to be it. That's probably it. Episode 6 gives a first real look at Emperor Charles. His speech is very memorable. All on inequality is not wrong, equality is. Yeah, that's all you have to know. Okay, it's a pretty epic speech, honestly. Or it was stated Gias was translated the power of the king from. Yeah, again, that's probably what happened. Episode 6 might seem like a filler episode, but it does show more about Lelouch and Suzaku's friendship. About the ending, help establish who the big bad of the series is. True. All depends on how much he could actually gain from Clovis as just a mind and a collective consciousness, unconsciousness. He probably couldn't have a full conversation yet until the Ragnarok connection. Yeah, that's true. We don't know what he learned from Clovis, if anything. It could have been a very short conversation. So I'm making assumptions, obviously, but I was kind of confused what they even were talking about to begin with. That's a fair point. Or his sister hide the information about her massacre. Yeah, so Euphemia probably didn't know about what Clovis did. That's very true. That's absolutely true. I mean, even Suzaku wasn't aware, so that makes sense to me. I mean, why would Cornelia tell Yuffie anyways? So, although, now that you say that, Euphemia wasn't really surprised when Lelouch told her that Clovis killed innocent civilians. You know, the 11s. I'm gonna watch the episode again for next week, but I don't remember if Euphemia talked to Cornelia about that massacre. I'm pretty sure they didn't talk about it because then they could have brought, hey, why don't you tell me about it? So you got a good point, but at the same time, she didn't seem too surprised when Lelouch brought it. When Zero actually, she didn't know he was Lelouch. Well, she figured it out later on, but you know what I mean. Yuvi visited the ghettos before the Cornelia arrived, so yeah, she knew. Good point. I was overthinking it. That's the right answer. Yes, if she visited the ghetto, she absolutely knew what happened. Fair point. So then, why was she like so kind about Clovis? You know, from a home improvement. I don't know what. Good point. The episode is one of the scenes that baffled me the most. I'm probably overthinking it. Shirley rushed out of the pool in her swimsuit in order to find the cat as soon as possible. Well, she had to do that because she didn't want to be kissed by some random stranger. Unless that random stranger is named Lelouch. Then in case it's not a random stranger. It could only take Shirley a few minutes to change, so why doesn't she? The chance of someone finding the cat and demanding a kiss from her are very slim. Oh, you're saying Shirley isn't beautiful looking or pretty. Well, you're not alone. I agree. She's good looking, but not compared to Colin. Let's be honest. It looked like Colin was the one everyone wanted to get a kiss from, not Shirley. So yeah, she probably wouldn't find. I mean, if we're analyzing this, objectively here, in most likely the case, it would have been Colin the one who would have got asked a kiss from, even over Millie, which is surprising. But yeah, she definitely could have. She had time, but she was kind of panicking. Running around in a swimsuit would only make more guys want to kiss her, so it kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah, true, but I guess no one did, right? But fair point, though. A swimsuit is not a bikini. That's a good point. Take a few minutes to change would have made more sense. If I remember correctly, Shirley fell into the pool, so her swimsuit would have been soaking wet. Yeah, that's also true. Good point. Okay. Well, Lucius is extremely lucky that none of his friends got a good look at that zero mask. And like half the school, let's be honest. Even though I don't hate Nina, I find it kind of sad that they picked her to be one of the homosexual female character in the series. Well, Millie is probably bi, but it's never confirmed. Oh my god! I keep smacking this thing. I one time got in a fight with someone about that where I said, I think she's bi, and they're like, no. I'm like, why not? Well, there's no proof of it. I'm like, yeah, but she touched. She's clearly into touching women, especially high school girls. So I think if she's not bi, she's bi curious. If you get the reference. Yeah, there was probably there's a good point with that because you're saying how they with Millie and with Nina they made her a homosexual, but also kind of racist. So they made like the bad character have other negative things about them. But yeah, they could have given it to someone else. I agree. Pride and help matters. Even and I don't hate Nina either. By the way, I think her character development action in the second season of Code Geass was really good, and the role she serves in the story is also pretty good. Is she a good person? Heck no, absolutely not. And if you hate her actions, I agree. But to say she's like awful, I think you misunderstand the point of the character. But that's me against the whole fan base. Even though I don't like Rivel, that much, instead, Millie doesn't even notice her feelings for his feelings for her. Yeah, that's true. She acts flirty around almost everyone except him. Yeah, I mean, let's. Yeah, surely. Well, why doesn't Riddle just tell Millie how he feels? He's always like hiding behind different things. Just say like I care about you. And I think Millie's not stupid. She knows, but she is not interested in Rivals. No one is. Rivals the most unlikable person at school. Gotta hate him. Hey Toby, should you be in the fourth Ninja War? You should be with Akatsuki. But whatever, as long as you're enjoying yourself. Nina, I swear to God, I know. I find it interesting that Lelouch is the vice president, even though he's a very lazy council member. I feel like Millie gave him that position because of her feelings for him. It could be that too, or maybe because he's what's it called? Because of the situation with Nully and living in the dorms, it kind of made sense too. He's also very smart when he wants to be. That, or he does most of the work, budget statistic wise. Ribble's too stupid and just agrees with the speech. Yeah, that's probably it. Probably because she's bored. We're talking about Millie. Yeah, that could be why. I mean, she was just kind of like serious the whole time. Or he's stupid because he likes being racist. That could also be too. I feel like Millie's the type of person who acts carefree and live in order to cheer up her friends. However, when things are truly serious, she acts more mature. Yeah, she definitely has that side to her, and she tries to become more aware of it in the second season of Code Geass when she talks to Nina at the Chinese Federation party. She mentions a little bit about how she's changing as a person. Yeah. Millie actually deep down is actually really like depressed. She's one of the most depressed characters in the series. That's why she acts so carefree. Like the whole arranged marriage stuff, she's actually super depressed about it. If they had focused more on that and less with the whole fan servicey school fun stuff, I would have liked the character a lot more. But because that whole thing is almost sidelined for the fun stuff, it's hard to take all of it seriously. But she is actually very depressed. She might be the most depressed person in the show, or up there as most depressed person in the show, because her whole life is dictated for her. She'll never have true love because her family arranges it all for her. So, yeah, it's a depressing situation for sure, but it doesn't mean I like the character. But yes, that's a very valid point. I think Rivals may not give a darn, and Millie being serious because she knows what happened to Lucian Nelly. Oh, that's a good point. She's aware, yeah, and she knows, of course, that his two children live with her. So she's probably pissed off at him then. That makes sense. Nina, it is what it is. Pretty much. I wish we got a scene where Cornelia and Charles interacted. There were times where I almost forgot Charles was Cornelia's father because we never really get to know how she feels about him. You know what? I have never thought about that once since watching the show, but you have a very valid point because they never really do talk much in the series that I know of. Yeah, they never talk once. She probably didn't like him. Who the hell knows? Uh, Hold on. Charles used Clovis' death as an excuse to make a speech about his bigoted views. Classic villain move, for sure. R1, R2, better season. I liked R1 more, but, I can see why people like R2. R1 was my favorite one. Despite God, one more time. Despite a few silly moments in episode 6, overall, I loved the episode. Great introduction to Charles and all the stuff with Lelouch and Suzaku's friendship. It was very well done. Yeah, agreed. I don't agree with I know you won't. I don't know if you'll agree with this, but I don't think there's a single bad episode on the show. Um, well, I think 5 and turn 5. Turn 5 was pretty bad. 19 wasn't my favorite of stage 19. There's obviously good parts to it, but that wasn't my favorite. That's hard to say. I don't know. I guess there's some truth to that. There's not an episode where I'm like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. Again, except for like turn 5. There's just a lot of like, I guess, mediocre compared to the good stuff. Jeremiah mentions he has a sister in the audio drama. Oh, I must have missed that when I was going through it. Jeremiah says it should be called Orange Girl, probably. Geass is based on Irish mythology called Geass, one less, and operates the same way. Interesting. I think I knew that, but I forgot. I must have Geass myself. If you want Cornelia and Charles' interaction, there's a fan fiction story by Mobius stripper called Lee Britannia Stories. Wow. There you go. You get it. The second part focuses on Cornelia shortly after R1. If you don't mind fan fiction, I highly recommend it. I'm sure it has some like facts to it, right? The only fan fiction part, I guess, is forcing interaction, but the rest of it's probably from actual lore from the story. I haven't read. I'm just assuming. The second part focuses. I read it already. I'm currently watching the show fic called Journey of the Unholy Trinity. It's Spanish, but the author is writing an English version. Interesting. That's kind of cool too. Okay, I've also read Journey of the Unholy Trinity. Okay, I'll check it out actually. Unholy Trinity is pretty good, much better than the other one, the first Code Geass fanfic to be completed. Is this like a whole novel, or is it a manga? What exactly is this? I guess it's probably not. If it's fanfic, it's probably a. I guess it'd be like a whole. I guess it's like a story. That's cool. I should check. I'll look it up. I wonder what they focus on too. God, look at this. Look at this face. This is the face that haunts the place. The face of ignorance. The face of someone who is complacent, and why bad things happen to him. Yeah, she's actually kind of confused. It's kind of funny. Her face is like, huh? And Nina's actually right there too. I didn't even know Nina's right there as well. I guess everyone sticks together. I also today I finished a Code Geass fanfic about Lelouch hosting a sleepover. That's the face of a killer. That's funny. Okay, let's go over the picture drama for 6. And it was. It's about Suzaku and his truck or car. No, God, his bicycle. He doesn't have a truck or a car. What am I saying? I don't freaking know. I'll put the sub one on because it doesn't really matter in this case. Okay. The purpose behind this picture drama is because some people are probably curious as to why Lelouch or why Suzaku knows Lelouch. So this kind of answers that question where he makes up some kind of story where they spend time together. What was it, like a summer trip or something, or camp? I forgot exactly what it was. Then they talk about Suzaku's past, how he knows about like fixing Morbite because he had like a woman who took care of him or something. I guess it was like a mother-like figure. She says, your big sister, don't tell me it was your mom. And he goes like, no, I don't have any family. Which is weird because I thought they said that they cut ties. He does have family. I guess he was lying to Rebels for, I don't know, whatever reason. But anyways, he's on top of this girl, this woman who helped him out. She's long gone. And that's this whole, that's the first part. They're talking about like their past and stuff. And Suzaku's very formal and there's no need to be. And then we get this part here where they're together working on the engineering core. Suzaku comes in there and I tell him, this is like your own home too, and just say I'm back because Suzaku's always like, I'm here to report for duty, sir, with honor. And they're like, no, just be laid back, this is your second home. So he says, I'm back, and it's more of a formal thing, and that's welcome home. That's it. That's all it is. It's about Suzaku, a little about his past, a little contradictory statements, and he gets to answer that question about like why he knows Lelouch. Because I guess there's a plot hole there where Pierre want to know what the backstory was. So yeah, that's it. It wasn't it wasn't the most interesting compared to the last one, and even the one with the bathing in the shower, which again was the most fan servicey one, but actually had interesting stuff about the lore. The author of the Unholy Trinity is cursed. He was involved in at least 2 car accidents. The first was a bike, and the other car took over the power line poles to get the internet. Is that true? How do you know that? How would you know that? That's funny. Absolutely funny stuff. Unlike this episode, which was absolutely not funny. Except Lloyd, he thought it was funny. I guess when you don't have emotions, everything is funny. Yeah, that speech was really epic. And they use it, by the way, in I think it's turn 7. They reference it again. So obviously this speech was very impactful to all of Code Geass. So again, I'm not sure why people hate this episode for, but and of course we get these really nice images and the show, unlike the new ending, which is a compilation of stuff we've already seen. Heck, this is from Picture Dramas too, I believe. This is actually from a Picture Drama, which is kind of cool. That I'm not sure. I think it's also a Picture Drama. I'm not sure any Picture Drama where Toto and Detour are together. Well, Toto's working on something with no shirt on, obviously. I always love this image where you see Colin as a kid and her mother's giving her like a pat in the head, and then her brother's there and she's got like A+ because she's really smart. Because Colin was always a super genius, academically, anyways. And the next week we're gonna have this one where they have their little cat fight. I guess I wouldn't even call it that, but that's one way to put it. It's always interesting that Lelouch says stuff at the end of each episode, like just like a monologue and there's an epilogue, or I guess it's a monologue in both cases. But his last thoughts are interesting. There's actually one that's a little controversial, which I'll bring up in episode, I think it's 14. He says something really interesting, which I'll bring up at another time when we get there, of course. Yeah, those are 3 episodes. Again, not compared to the first 3 we went over, not as eventful. Mostly with more world building, interesting more characters. The action was good, but not on the same level. We'll see it again in episode 7. So, episode 7, not Star Wars, but he said so in the author's notes. Oh wow. Episode 6 gives us our first look at Schneizel, who is one of the many people watching the speech. Yeah, Schneizel's is kind of there though. He's not really but yeah, he is there. That's right. He's very early on in the speech. You see the whole royal family. Yeah, he's right there. That's a big. Yeah, he's right there, and so did Odysseus too. And Schneizel looks really bored, understandably. Yeah, the most boring man in Britannia is there too, with his brown hair, which is kind of weird because Marion and wait, what was Charles' natural hair? Is it brown? That must be where it comes from. I always thought that the picture in the end credits with Detared and Toto was really weird. Out of context, it looks like Detared is admiring the view of shirtless Toto. Yeah, I never understood like what the like at least with the other scenes in the end, it kind of makes sense. Like, is that Suzaku? I think it's Suzaku. And then see Lelouch ran away. Although he wasn't wearing that outfit when he ran away, but it's fine. Euphemia would be a Cornelia. They're sisters after all. And then this one is, of course, the situation with that's how C2 got the Geass, the code, because the nun stabbed her. I'm not sure why they're giving this away this early in the series, but it is what it is. I guess they figure you're not going to look anyhow. And then of course you see Suzaku. This is literally when they first one time they met. They reference this later on in the show. And then you get the Toto thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird. But it is what it is. blonde, I think. Shanazo didn't care about Clovis. Uh, Last Fanfare Edition is missing pieces by Akatsuki. Recommend chapter 1 and 3. I think Shanazo was sad about Clovis stuff. That's why he looked unhappy. I mean, sure, but okay. Maybe that's what it is. I want to like actually get these fanfics and write them out. This one's called "We Say Akatsuki's." I know I had the replay, but I'm gonna forget. So I'd rather just while it's still fresh in my mind. Was the other one was called "Lost of Unholy Trinity"? Okay, Unholy Trinity. Okay, got it. Yeah. So tomorrow, since we're kind of done with the episodes, tomorrow I'm going to release a video on Jedi Code, right in time with the video or the game release, discussing the whole game. It's really cool. I've been working on it all day today. That's why I'm like, usually I have like everything figured out. Like I have banners and I'm switching through stuff. I was literally on that video because normally I make a video, right? I have like theoretically all time in the world to publish it, but to make sure I get this, the timing has to be the day of. That's why I was like really rushing to get the video done. That's why I'm kind of like not as prepared as I normally am for streams because of that reason. It's a good video though, so it's worth it. In case you're wondering about what the heck is going on. Oh, and I also recorded the video for the whole Shirley situation with the alternate universe. Almost done with that one too. That should be out hopefully this week too. And then I'll have the Mao video as well. Why he survived and why Yuffie died. I think that's all I can have. I'm also working on the usually hero, villain, or anti-hero. And then after that, when those 3 videos are done, it's kind of up in the air at this point because I was thinking more top 10 lists about different topics, or I could do Wikipedia style videos similar to, the anime channel Amagi, where I could talk about Lucia's entire life. I could talk about Schneider's entire life, Collins, Suzaku. I can go that route. I can do a video on all the Knightmare frames, all the Geass powers, although I gotta wait till the anime comes out just to make sure I don't miss anything. But or the royal family or the knights of the round. I mean, there's so many different direction I could take content going forward. I was also thinking of maybe doing what's it called? Some comparisons between different shows. I've already done Death Note and Code Geass, but there's like so many other ideas I had. For example, have you guys seen? If you watch Full Metal Panic, that show is similar to Code Geass because both shows have like a high school fun element to it. While also, Sasuke, for example, in Full Metal Panic, is literally like fighting with Mithro, and he's in like a lot of conflicts, and they're pretty bad. I mean, there's one episode in Full Metal Panic where he comes back from battle, and he's just so mentally drained. And considering what happened, I can't forget where he went, but he was so drained from that event that when he sees Chidori, their name is Kaname Chidori, the blue hair girl, he just like sits down on the floor, but not like on this. He has like his feet up, or not his knees up, and she's just consoling him because he was just really messed up from that. So the question is, between the two shows, which did a better job balancing, let's say, the high school fun elements versus the war elements? I want to do videos like that too, so we'll see. We'll see where it goes. I'll do some polls on the channel and see what people are interested in. But there's a lot of directions to take the channel. I got a lot of ideas for videos. Will I ever get to all of them? Who the heck knows? You could do that with Raina's arm. Yes, you know what? I think I did a poll for that. That has to be done too. That's right. I can't forget about that. Raina's arm. And now with Jedi Code coming out, people might have questions. So, although in that game they showed his special move, and it didn't make any darn sense because what his arm did, it made like a circle or something, and it hit a bunch of things in the area. But I'm pretty sure it doesn't just it's not a beam. It sucks the life of everything. So they kind of messed that up. And that's a whole nother thing though. So you make sure you have the Journey of the Unholy Trinity. Yeah, I have that one. I have the Journey of the Unholy Trinity. There's another Holy Trinity that focuses on recap films. Not very good. Okay. Cause to me, Rand seems to be a broken fighter who can regrow his arm and suck life at anything, even at yeah, he can. In fact, in the when Randy Darkness gets as the story progresses, he could actually absorb inorganic stuff. Well, he can absorb trees. I'm not sure about machines, but yeah, his arm becomes like extremely OP. That's why it's good. He has the stone in the game because if he didn't have the stone, he could fire laser beams. He literally could kill everyone. I'm not sure about Knightmare frames, but definitely the creatures from Seed's world for sure. Full mana. Jesus Christ, Full Metal Panic school scenes, in my opinion, are much more funny than Code Geass. Yeah, especially the parts where like Sasuke thinks Tajori's in. I keep saying her name wrong, but Kaname is in trouble. So he'll tackle her in the most awkward situations. I mean, there's parts where he like took apart someone's car, the teacher's car. He thought there was a bomb in there. He entered the school. What was it? The locker room for the girls. He thought he was in trouble or she was in trouble. He attacked random boys who were sneaking up on her because they want to steal her laundry. It's very funny stuff because he thinks she's in danger, so he has to protect her with his life. But he doesn't understand that in school, silly stuff happens all the time. So Sasuke is a fish out of water. It's very funny stuff. Code Geass isn't as funny, but the question isn't so much what's funny, which is, I think it's a valid thing to discuss, but also between the two, which one balances it better? Because in not to go too much into this, but Full Metal Panic, Flamofu, there's like two sequels kind of. Flamofu, I think, is more of a spin-off, and in that one, it's all school and no military stuff. And then Second Ray is all military and no school stuff. So the creators realized like they had to do one or the other. Even though I thought Full Metal Panic balanced it out pretty well, but either way, they kind of figured out like, yeah, we should probably just do one or the other, not both. So that's kind of the plan going forward. Good stuff coming, of course. And yeah, I guess I don't really have anything else to discuss here. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so I guess one thing here. Again, I'll video out 2 videos out this week, hopefully, and then I guess some more come out next week. We'll see. And my goal is to get Code Geass Janissary code working, so next week I can start playing it. I hope. We'll see if that Q app works. But anyways, guys, thanks for tuning in. Have a good week, and I will see you guys next week to discuss 7, 8, and possibly 9. We'll see. All right, guys, take care.